Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I am the Watcher on the Web, and I'm joined by a couple of excellent guests today. First of all, my longtime companion, Joe Dolio, and today, Miss Molly Miller. How you doing, Molly?
Good morning. I have to tell you, there's not a time that I don't listen to that intro that I'm like, yes,
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
gasoline on fire.
I am creating a new one, and I have been told explicitly that I am only allowed to add to, not subtract from the song. So
I want to lodge a complaint for everyone in the chat to hear. I've already had to listen to them nerd out about chickens, and this shall not happen.
Incubators. It was incubators.
It was glorious, though. It was glorious. We're coming off of a great weekend at Camp Ponderosa. We had a bunch of folks out here learning some of the old pistol shooting out here in the Old West. We did nothing cowboy style because nobody is a single action anymore. But hey, we had a good time. We got more classes coming up this weekend. We got a little bit of land navigation action, and then a women's only pistol class. So good times. But it is a crazy week. There is more going on. So
was that women's only pistol class well attended, Joe?
Yeah, actually. I don't know. It'll be this weekend.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, excellent. Hopefully so.
This weekend, I will point out, I will be the bigger man and say that Hunch, the dirty roofer, outshot me this weekend. Now, he knows that I was using a unfamiliar pistol and when it was not set up correctly yet. But he did outshoot me this weekend, so good job to Hunch. And I know he's in case pistol class right now where he did quite well yesterday. So it's good to see someone who we took from zero to where they're now excelling and performing quite well. So
I feel like I have to ask you about the fun pistol. You didn't decide to shoot this course with like a Colt Python or something? Is that what happened?
No. But APX.
Gotcha.
But I have turned it into a very solid pistol in the last couple of days. So,
well, nice.
I did not buy a pistol from Hunch. That is inaccurate and false. It's not
That's
a pistol.
Right. That's right. I was gonna say. I'm pretty sure it was probably more expensive than that. Molly, it's good to have you on. I understand that your partner in crime hopefully will be alone, but we don't know for sure.
We'll see. I know that when we were talking about getting her on, she was thinking that was going to be much later.
Yeah, there was a time
scheduling between Korea and the U.S. can get a little tricky, and so she's going to wake up and be like, "What is going on?"
Well, it's
or she's having a horrible emergency, and I haven't been able to get through to her, and which is the part of me that I'm worried about.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
I'm sure she's fine.
But yeah, we did have a little bit of the old Korea mix-up snafu, but we're here. I just want to say before we move on, did anybody else enjoy this imagery? Because I thought this was I saw this yesterday. It was like, yep, that's thumbnail.
Right.
Well, good morning, chat. I'm going to go through here real quick before we get into the main topics. Chimkins, indeed. Super nerds. That's us. Yep. Your Wednesday is off to a great start. 2-year-old decided she doesn't want bacon or oatmeal. Oh, God. And just wants to subsist off of sunlight and water. I have had 2-year-olds do similar things, man. Well, hope everybody's doing fine this morning. And I guess we should just move into our first topic, eh? And our first one's pretty interesting. Joe, I think you caught this one. Officials say the FBI has located multiple explosive devices in a Pennsylvania storage unit connected to the attempted bombing by Muslim suspects targeting anti-Islamic protests in New York City.
Yeah, this story actually continues to grow day by day. First of all, there's the ridiculous headline by CNN that these two poor Muslim youths went to town to enjoy the weather and somehow got arrested for throwing bombs because it was not their fault. But it turns out these two kids are ISIS sympathizers. They had a storage unit entirely full of bombs that they made and probably intended to throw. What's funny is everyone wants to talk about Jake Lang as if he's the only person that these two threw a bomb at. And in my personal opinion, Jake Lang gets what Jake Lang deserves. So, but they also threw a bomb at police officers standing in front of Mamdani's house. So it wasn't just Jake Lang they were throwing bombs at.
And let's be honest, if the bomb had gone off, it had probably killed that first row of leftists as well. Or given a very bad
crazy leftist streamer has finally admitted that he was wrong for mocking everyone else from running away from the bomb. Look, man, just because you lived doesn't mean your actions weren't stupid, right?
Oh my God.
That guy's timeline for 12 hours could have been described by the simple phrase, damn, you couldn't have made me post this by putting a gun to my head, bro.
That dude was dumb.
I will say my favorite so far has been the New York Times headline. You have to hand it to them. They definitely put their college to use for something, which is nobody obscures something like the New York Times. Smoking jar of metal and fuse thrown at protest in
my God.
And look, put that back up there for a second.
Yes, I know the byline's not better.
Look at the second one. 6 people arrested after Islamic protesters led by Jake Lang. It would imply that Jake Lang's people
they threw the bomb.
Correct.
That's how. If I were incapable of like personal thought and I read that, that's exactly what I would take. Oh my God, they're throwing bombs at all these Muslims.
That's what they count on people doing, right? And not paying any attention.
Oh my God.
And imagine the irony, though, being a guy screaming on a microphone about diversity is our strength and we have to let everyone in when a Muslim jumps up on your back and uses you as a body shield while throwing a bomb at somebody. That right there is the entire immigration issue writ large right there.
Now I have a second video on this topic to share, and I have a comment that I need to make before this video, okay? So I have to say real quick that Phantom Fireworks, I have personally cussed you out from top to bottom on many a year on the 4th of July over offering the worst fireworks imaginable, mainly that your fuses just suck complete ass. They go out at random. It's the worst. But can I just say I didn't realize that you were actually patriots, because it turns out that that's exactly where these boys went and bought their fuses. I'm not even kidding you. Phantom Fireworks found it and released the footage. This is him going to buy the fuses that he used. They were Phantom Fireworks fuses. That's why the bombs didn't go off. I'm not even kidding you.
Well, Phantom Fireworks does actually sell quick fuse, and they're one of a few places that do, and that's exactly the package that we bought. I helped with the fireworks show in Louisville, Kentucky, or not Louisville, in Bowling Green, Kentucky, a couple years ago, and that's where we went to buy those exact things he has right there.
So yeah, and the police have confirmed that it was in fact a shitty fuse that caused the bombs to fail. So again, I apologize, Phantom Fireworks. I didn't know your game.
God bless corporate incompetence.
Right?
Somebody made the comment in the chat about this, Omega Lloyd. They would refer to 9/11 terrorists as jet-setting tourists that ended up in the cockpit. Somebody actually wrote one that says, Mohammed Atta got on a transcontinental flight and then found himself in the cockpit. I mean, it's just that silly. People believe their crap.
And a brief comic before we move on.
Yes, that's it right there.
All right. Well, next topic comes from our good friend Mike Shelby. And Joe, I'm going to let you cover most of this one because I think you're the one who brought this one up. But here we go.
So on March 28th, there's going to be protests all across the country for No Kings 2.0 or 3.0 or 37.0, whatever one we're on right now. But find your local one and maybe gather some information, what radio frequencies they're using, who the primary people are, what they're actually saying versus what the media claims they're saying, right? you'll find that they actually don't want the Democratic Party to win either. They just want to overthrow the U.S. government and install a communist one. So I recommend going and checking it out, but don't go like Jake Lang, all kitted up and act like a moron and draw attention to yourself. Just go, blend in with the crowd, and gather information. Mike has a lot of good info on that on his website. And we will be talking about intelligence gathering this Friday on my locals page at 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 local. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 6 Mountain, which is 8 p.m. Eastern. So
I believe there's a certain uncleaned roof-bound person who might have some stuff to share on that as well, if you could coax it out of him, Joe.
Probably.
You know, you brought this map up, and I was thinking immediately before hearing anything about what it was about that it looks very much like Tim Tebow's IP addresses that are sharing child pornography. It's basically the same map.
You're not wrong. Joe, did Mike have anything specific to say about this?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. My audio cut out on that. What was that?
Oh, she just said this also looks like that map Tim Tebow was just sharing about the people sharing images of child pornography. Isn't that
Weird.
Crazy.
Weird.
You'll find some serious overlap. I mean, it's bad when a kid can't go to a protest and shoot 3 protesters and hit 2 pedophiles and 1 burglar. It's just a shame.
Did you want me to read Mike's thing here, or are we good?
Yeah, so just run down it real quick.
So, on Saturday, 28th March, over 2,000 protest groups under the No Kings banner will attempt the largest protest in U.S. history, and if they don't get it, they'll continue to lie about it as they've done every other time. You should be making plans to attend your local protest in order to identify the local leaders and groups involved. Here's why. These successive No Kings protests don't matter much in the short run. They continue to claim that each protest was larger than the last, which is a dubious claim. But they have to make that claim because they want to build momentum heading into November midterms and then into the 2028 election. If you want a glimpse into the end state of the National Revolutionary Movement they're building, look no further than the 1986 People Power Revolution in the Philippines. Here's how resistance strategist Erica Chenoweth explains it. When Marcos declared himself the winner of the 1986 elections, despite the counterclaim of official monitors, opposition candidate Cory Aquino led a rally of 2 million Filipinos, proclaimed victory for herself and the people. The day after Marcos' inauguration, the Filipinos participated in a general strike, a boycott on the state media, a massive run on state-controlled banks, a boycott of crony businesses, and other nonviolent activities. Look back at the past roughly 15 months of protests and resistance activity, and you'll see that U.S.-based groups are running training wheels versions of actions like general strikes and national boycotts. It's because these groups are planning on doing the same thing if they lose the presidential election in 2028, which makes your local protest group live players in the build-up to a 2028 revolution. Go attend those protests and identify the leaders of those local movements in your backyard. This will be on the test.
Yes. It will be. And so, like I said, this Friday, we're going to run a thing on basic intelligence gathering at protests over on my locals page. Come join us.
Absolutely. If mods could link Joe's locals, that'd be much appreciated.
I'm about to give me just a second, and I will drop the actual show link over here so people can save it.
Perfect. All right. Let's see here. Okay, next topic is we're going to briefly skim on this one now, and then we'll circle back to this at the end of the show when more information becomes available. But as we were collecting notes, this was breaking news. Breaking, a van just rammed into a White House barricade, and the driver has been apprehended by the U.S. Secret Service. No injuries reported per Fox. Several streets are now blocked off. Why would a driver be doing this? We need to find out if there is a motive.
I think it was the car. Why would a car just do this?
Yeah.
Crazy.
It was one of those self-driving Waymos.
I don't know what Donald Trump has done to anger automobiles, but
wild. I can't understand it. Yeah.
So Joe, this next one, I have no idea what this is. It's a video. Do you want to give us something on this? Man with a Portuguese flag looks like.
This is actually a pretty darn good one. Portugal, the citizens of Portugal are standing up. Spain, as you saw, was caving in, but these guys are not. So go ahead and put that up there. Put up the I guess, yeah. It's in Portuguese, so I guess
I'll
you don't
give you
need
some audio, though. I'll give it some audio, though. Give me a second. I got to share it a different way. This one, there.
Portugueses, estamos no Martim Muniz, onde estamos... Aqui mandam os portugueses. Estamos em...
Look at how many Portuguese you see versus Africans.
Mandam os portugueses.
No, you have to respect people. You have to respect people. Respect people.
Não faço nada.
Yelling at him in broken English.
Ao povo português.
I'm more interested in what the guy with the sink walking by was all about.
Eles querem expulsar a nossa própria capital, mas esta cidade, esta capital ainda nos pertence. Portugal.
Put the flag in your pocket and start heaving too with the pole. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Expulsar-nos da nossa própria cidade e queiram correr conosco. Esta cidade pertence-nos.
You know what? He's not wrong, right? Like it's still called Portugal. It belongs to Portuguese people, and these other people coming in and assaulting him and trying to steal his flag because he says that, right? Hey, it's our country. It's absolutely wild. We're coming to a point where there's going to have to be some bloodshed in order to win things here.
To just really get the point across.
Yeah.
Because they're not getting it.
Yep.
Very true. It's well, I mean, I just want to make sure that people get that while I hate the immigrants as much as anybody else, they're being used as a tool, and violence needs to go where it needs to go. But let's just make sure that the people who actually cause this and are driving it don't avoid the problems
Or the consequences thereof. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then we have an interesting one for our final.
Hold on. Be Prepared points out that man needs a tactical wisdom combatives class. Hey, by the way, we do use staffs in that class, so we do stick fighting. So it's a good time.
They have a whole Robin Hood day.
That sounds awesome.
It really does.
That sounds amazing. I would like. I would attend a quarterstaff fighting class, right? Yeah. I want to watch. I love Boy Zoo.
All right. So our next one's, people have some different opinions on this. I think this is good. If anybody's listened to me talk over the last couple of years, I have a pretty explicit area where I fall on the 2A, and it's good to see this happening. So things that weren't on my bingo card. The Trump GOJ is giving back guns to felons, including one alleged fake elector. So last month, the Department of Justice quietly published a list of 22 names in the Federal Register with little explanation or fanfare. The department announced that these individuals had their federal gun rights restored. Most of them had something in common, decades-old felony convictions. Many had been charged long ago and lived for years without access to firearms. There was one exception with a much more recent charge. Republican Arizona Senator Jake Hoffman, who was indicted in 2024 for being a fake elector in 2020 and was one of dozens of people President Trump pardoned in November. The restorations are part of a broader DOJ push to revive a program that's been dormant for more than 3 decades. It allows people with certain felony convictions or even indictments to regain their gun rights as part of an effort to undo a disability and give back Second Amendment protections to people no longer seen as a threat to public safety. So anybody who has listened to me talk about this, listen, I think that either your gun rights are restored when you get out of prison, or the thing you did is so heinous you never get out of prison, or we just get rid of you. Oh, sorry guys. Apparently this has been sharing the wrong screen.
Yes.
I agree.
I think that's just the way it should work. Either you did something that's okay, now you go to prison, and when you get out, you're just back in society, or you just never go back to society. Those are the two options here. But this whole, like, we have people running around that literally can't legally defend themselves, that needs to be done with.
Yeah. Honestly, once your sentence is up, your sentence should be up. You're allowed to restore yourself in society in every other way. It needs to just stop. Yeah.
I think what's really kind of funny is how they're underlining that he was a fake elector. And this is like right when they found out that one Canadian guy was, well, he's not Canadian, but with that name. He's got a Star Wars name. And but he was like voting in elections even after he had received an order to leave the country in 2020. And he was already on the deportation list. And they're like, the thing that never happened was actually happening. But now that that's out, NPR's like, but there was a fake elector. And yeah.
I also think it's interesting that they're pointing that out, because it's a classic example of the type of nonviolent felony that Republicans have been saying for a long time should never lose their access to gun rights, because what does that have to do with a gun in the first place?
Yeah. Yes. It's going to be really hard to be a guest on this show. You guys just say it and it's good. And I'm like, yep, I agree.
Unfortunately, Scott has a similar problem sometimes. He's like, guys, why don't you speak up more? And I'm like, you just said the thing we all wanted to say. I mean, what do you want me to say?
I just need to be saying it and let me just, what am I, like the sign language interpreter? I don't need to say it again.
Joe, we should start doing that. That'd be funny.
ASL? That would be great.
Sure.
Do we have anything else to say on this? It looks like chat also agrees with us, so I don't even think we're arguing. I think we're preaching to the choir on this one, but it's good to see, right? It's good to celebrate the wins when we get them, because things are looking pretty not great at the moment, and so it's when we get wins, time to remember them. I guess we have one last story that we wanted to cover before we get into the main thing, and we need to take our pick of which one we want to cover. You know what? We'll just go with the ground news version right now, because it looks like very few reputable people are covering this story so far. Breaking: Trump announces a $300 billion Texas refinery deal with Indian company Reliance. President Donald Trump said via Truth Social that America First Refinery will build a refinery at the port of Brownsville, Texas, backed by Reliance, calling it a historic $300 billion deal. Wow, whoever punched this up needs to get punched. Amid a recent spike in oil prices.
I have to say something. You're going to call it America First Refining, right, and then give it to the Indians. This literally just sounds to me like a way to import even more H-1Bs.
Well, maybe. Let's see. Amid a recent spike in oil prices caused by the West Asia conflict. It's Iran. It's a war in Iran.
That's a very interesting way to put it. West Asia.
Officials framed the refinery as a way to boost domestic production and strengthen national security under an American First energy policy. And that is true in a lot of ways, right? Like, so let's say that we get it pumping and it's just Americans working it. We're sending it to India. That'd be great for us, because that decreases Indian reliance on Russian oil.
Meanwhile, India announces the U.S. doesn't get to tell us we can't buy Russian oil.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty cheeky of them. Let's see. Technical disclosures show the plant will. Oh, before we move on to that, I will say, interesting point of order here. So you may have, if you're familiar with geography, if you've looked at a map recently, you may have realized that Brownsville is kind of an an odd place to put a refinery that will probably be exporting to India. And tell you, oh, hey, welcome.
Hi.
Hey,
Wait a minute.
How do I get out of
what's
here?
she doing, baby cake?
Am I stuck?
I suspect, guys, that these ladies are not using real pictures of themselves.
No, I'm actually a white hamster in a bra
What are you
top. That's
talking about?
literally
She looks
me.
amazing. Those are gorgeous titties.
This show is taking a turn.
Good morning. Hi, good morning. The first word out of her mouth is that. So sorry.
Oh my.
Also, I'd like to apologize for being late. I'm usually not tardy. We had really bad storms overnight.
Oh, you're
in
okay.
Dallas.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie, I had a dream that started just like this. I'm just throwing it out
Oh yeah.
there.
Oh boy.
That's weird.
Anyway,
I mean, have you met us? We're always weird. It's fine.
Now, I know that I'm. This is too good. I just can't let it go by. The refinery is going to have Bollywood playing in every break room 24/7. You know.
look, if you think William Shatner was an overactor, you have not watched a Bollywood movie ever.
Oh, I've seen some clips of Bollywood. It's insane.
Who are these two hamsters? You know what?
Yeah, we should probably explain that.
Yeah.
We should
So-
probably-
Ladies, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure, not a problem. That over there is my partner in crime, Danielle. She is a lovely stay-at-home mom in Texas, and she has two beautiful children, and she's one of the smartest women I know,
Right.
and top smartest people that I know.
Absolute lie.
Excellent writer, beautiful striptease artist. She's a full, but she's my partner in crime over at the What Did You Do This Week podcast. She keeps us grounded because I tend to float away.
And I should add that these guys have been were on the show since before it was called the Council on Future Conflicts. I think you guys used to join Scott and the crew back when it was still Writers Fix
Writers Fix
Problems.
Yep.
Molly and I
Molly definitely did. Yeah.
Molly and I are the original two.
Mhm.
Oh, I did an entire episode holding a chicken with a chicken
A
on my
whole
lap.
episode with a chicken on her lap, and it was
A live
On my lap
chicken.
the whole time.
Wait, it was
Live
alive,
chicken.
right, Molly? You didn't kill it.
Yeah, it was totally alive. We didn't eat her until later.
Well, that's creepy now thinking about holding a dead chicken. Why would she ever hold a dead chicken?
Awesome.
Joe, you've met me. You know.
Ghost Eater Eddie says
I
that Scott's
understand.
pronunciation issues finally caught up with him. He has been replaced by hamsters.
Ah. Well, yeah, I think what happened is that Scott, I think Scott caught part of the last episode and saw the timestamp on it and went, "They need guests."
And there was some questions that Molly said the name of the show so fast.
Oh.
They didn't catch it, so say it again.
It's the What Did You Do This Week podcast. It was inspired by the Doge email that was sent out that caused a meltdown, and Danielle and I were, I think, talking about it on, what were we talking about it on Wednesday in studio by Friday?
I think
where's
Danielle's
she?
having audio issues.
Yeah.
Baby cakes. Okay. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that we started it on a Wednesday and we were in studio by Friday recording. And we're working on season 2. Last season we were doing the Fighting Hamsters, Hamster Fight Club. This year we are Life of a Showgirl Hamster. So that's what's with the fascinators and the boobies.
Fascinator. You know, I haven't heard the word fascinator since I used to watch a lot of old westerns.
I have to interject and say, Sly Dante, the chicken was not choked. At least not live on the screen. Okay. That's terrible. Some of you people have issues. And Alpha Charlie
Well-
Concept says, I don't ever want to hear the word striptease while seeing Joe's face on the screen again. Listen, I know there was an unfortunate incident in your garage that day, but it doesn't have to scar you for the rest of your life.
Did that fix it, Danielle?
Yes, thank you. I don't know why my
Perfect.
headphones are being malcontents today.
You're A-okay. Honestly, I wouldn't blame your headphones. StreamYards is kind of, well, no other way to put it. StreamYards is kind of a little bitch. And it
We
kinda just
had
bitches
Microsoft
out.
Teams for a long time, so I totally get it.
Oh yeah.
Totally get it.
Sometimes our
Oh, actually-
federal agents interfere with our show.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, fuck those
They're
guys.
monitoring.
Oh my God, Fred, leave it alone. You have the kids this weekend.
Okay, so
Right?
as long
God.
as we're here, I have to say, as much as like that is a joke, at the same time, our StreamYards worked a lot better right up until our buddy Don got indicted on federal charges for being involved in January 6th, and then all of a sudden StreamYards stopped working correctly for us. Weird, very
That's
strange.
weird. That's weird. Very
So listen,
odd.
Agent Johansson, stop interfering with our show, okay?
Or get better equipment, damn it.
Yeah.
Stop
yeah.
being cheap.
I just love the idea that I might be like the one who's driving my Fed to drink.
God, I hope my bed is such an alcoholic his liver explodes. Or hers.
Wait,
I'm not sexist,
I just
like
have to say
whatever.
before we move on to the ad segment, that would make an excellent T-shirt. Be the reason your Fed is driven to drink. Yeah, I like that.
I'm the reason the FBI drinks.
Go out there and be a hamster.
Yes.
All right, Joe, do you want to give us a little bit on tactical wisdom?
Okay. So I will be updating today training courses, putting some stuff in. There were a lot of you who commented that there wasn't anything there after March. That's because I was waiting for an answer from Kay. Kay, if you're watching, bro, give me some dates. And I didn't want to take weekends he was going to do. But we have a lot coming up. I'm trying to put everything on every weekend. We have a whole training center here. We might as well use it. We've got some 1 and 2 day classes and even some half-day classes to try and get some of the locals involved here. But we have a lot of things coming up. If you haven't tried a wilderness survival class, come check it out and actually put your skills to the test in the Montana mountains. You will either graduate far more confident or you'll be digested and pooped out by a grizzly bear. One or the other. Something will happen. Actually, we did just track some lions that were on the property. So it's a pretty wild environment and beautiful, by the way. It's absolutely gorgeous. So come on out and check that out. We have a lot of classes that we've added, like some of the basic firearms classes, some more field craft, all kinds of good stuff. And one of the funnest classes that we have is the Combatives Weekend, where we come out here and we roll around on the mats. So on Friday, we'll do unarmed self-defense and ground fighting. Saturday, we do sticks and knives. There's nothing that bonds a group of people together like beating each other with sticks. In fact, Cody and Bailey, you know who you are. You're in the chat. They came out here and beat on each other with sticks and knives and wrestled around and then decided they might as well get married. So pretty awesome. It's such a bonding environment. And then on Sunday, we bring it all together and we do cold firearms combatives. How to use a rifle or pistol when it is jammed or out of ammo as a blunt object and beat the tar out of each other, including some bayonet fighting. So there is some good stuff in there. Come on out and take some classes. Don't forget, a couple of events we have coming up is our annual spring training week, where we jam a bunch of classes in. Apparently, Matt has had more than enough snow, brush beater, so he decided to push it to June this year. So June 12th to the 17th. We'll have NC Scout out here for RTO and SIGINT. Kay will probably be there with fundamentals of patrolling, I think is what he intended to do. And then I will toss in a community security op either at the beginning or end of that whole week. And then July 24th to the 26th, reminder, Danielle and Molly, July 24th to the 26th, Mountain Readiness. We're having a whole massive preparedness and homesteading event right here at Camp Ponderosa. And a couple of neat things have been added to this. We've got a knife maker coming out who's going to forge knives and axes right on site. We've got some combatives trainers. We've got some firearms trainers and radio trainers, all kinds of stuff coming out. But also, those of you who have met him, several of you in the chat have, Yogi, my maintenance man who is also a butcher, is going to teach you how to make sausage. And then on Saturday night, we're going to cook up all those sausage and eat them. And Watcher and T, the founder of Mountain Readiness, are going to teach you how to process chickens, and we're going to cook those too. So we're going to have a pretty massive cookout on the Saturday night, and it is going to be a blast. So you don't want to miss Mountain Readiness, July 24th to the 26th. That's all I got.
Well, good stuff. Molly, Danielle, do you guys want to give a little? I think you got a book coming out, right?
Molly just had a book come out with the Longo Moon universe.
I just had a book.
Well,
the name of the book is Kill Game. And it was supposed to be for Apocalypse in Pieces, and I don't follow directions very well. So I'm really, really bad at following directions.
No, she's actually pretty correct in that one. I'm going to go ahead and give her that one.
Yeah, I'm not good at it. So it is a story that's told in about 6 or 7 parts. Where first it was, you see it from the point of view of the Chinese that are coming in, invading basically the Reno area. And then it's a back and forth between the militia that forms there in response to this invasion. And it's kind of a Western, kind of a biker gang, kind of a mystery, a little bit of everything thrown in there and rattled together. And then here, eat it. Oh, and Alex Hyde White does the audiobook, which I'm fangirling over.
What?
Phenomenal.
A lovely job.
Phenomenal.
So good. He's so good.
Hold on. That was the right link, and now it's not pulling. What? I hate you, Amazon.
Is Amazon down again?
I don't know.
The day after release, Amazon went down for like 3 hours. And everybody's like, how do I get it? And I'm like, I don't know.
All right. I'm going to
the
post
Amazon
it.
work.
I'm going to post it in the chat, guys. That's the best I can do because I can't make it go on the screen without doxing myself.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Just
No.
Fair warning to readers. If you don't like the F word, you might want to skip Kill Game.
Yes, there's a lot of F-bombs.
Lots of
They're all important. They're all important F-bombs.
Every single one. You know what? I sat down and I went through the script over and over going, do I need this specific F word? Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
It does.
If I may say, if they've been following this channel for this long, they're probably pretty comfortable.
I don't think the F word's really going to bother them.
That was one of the reviews that I got was there needs to be less swearing. The rest of the review, the rest of the review is it's fair. I took a risk in telling this story and how I told it, and so I understand like being jerked around through time is kind of like not fun for every reader, but and there needs to be less swearing was like, oh, okay.
Thanks,
sorry,
Mom.
Barbara. Yeah.
Well, real quick, I need to edge in and say, hey, good morning, Jim. Good to see you in the chat. If you would like to join, you have the link as always, but I can also toss you one in a DM if you need it. Just let me know.
Also, Jim, as it appears that you and I are about to suffer a massive snowstorm, if we're going to have lunch, it should probably be today.
Oh, I want to go to lunch. Oh, wait, I'm not in the right state. Damn it.
I was going to say,
come on up. Just shoot yourself right up 83 and we'll go to lunch.
Yeah,
be a bit of a drive to head to the Hungry Bear is all I'm saying.
Right?
Although I'm not going to lie, traveling north to south to get here is way shorter than east to west because Hunch left here on Saturday morning and made it all the way to Flagstaff that night. So
holy crap!
Damn, that's a lot of driving.
That's it sounds like some chemically altered driving to me. But,
a lot of Red Bull.
The country is much like me, short and fat, and it's easier to go north to west. South. I'm actually not short. I'm just throwing that out there.
Compact.
Travel sized.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't go that far. You are never fully without of. Ladies, it's fun, but I'll remind you that you're never fully out of arm's reach with a Joe Dolio.
I don't know. My husband has some freakishly long arms. He might have longer arms than Dolio.
Right in the eye, right there. Joe is 5'3" confirmed. There are many people in the chat who have met me who will tell you I am nowhere near 5'3".
Well, good news, everybody.
Is it 5'2"?
Y'all are getting it wrong. Matt is the one who is a hobbit. I am not.
that's factual. Well, Matt's a hobbit, and then also we've also got our Demp. So
yeah, I'm no Nephilim like Washer, but
yeah, I am holding down the opposite side of the size scale. I think. Yeah. It sounds like Jim will be joining us after he's had his coffee, so it'll be nice.
Good.
Well, all right, children deliver it to you.
Oh, that sounds so nice.
It is. It's great.
Yeah.
Jay
Clark points out that Hunch drove all the way to Texas and back from North Carolina during Fieldcraft. So that's confirmed. Hunch has chemically altered driving.
Allegedly.
In Minecraft.
Hey.
Yeah, we're not going to out the boys and girls at the fan club. No.
Pharmaceutically enhanced. Okay. That's
there you go.
My man was high on life. Leave him alone.
Right?
We have the technology. All right, let's get in to the Iran War, Day 11. By the way, I just have to say, unlike all these previous wars where we've had to do a bunch of math to figure out what war day we're on, Donald Trump handles things correctly and just started it on the first. Easy peasy. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it does make the math so much easier. I appreciate that.
U.S. attacks Iranian mine-laying ships near Hormuz on day 12 of war. I have to say, calling them mine-laying ships is incredibly generous.
Like a bayliner, right?
It's funny because like I saw a bunch of photos of this and I was like, why is everybody trying to make a big deal of this? I don't understand. And then I realized that people don't get that, like, they're literally trying to, two at a time, hand unload these off of boats that are almost one-for-one cutouts of the same type of boats where you can take it out by the dozen with drones in the Gulf for the last 3 months. Like almost identical to what the cartels are using. That's a challenge. How? I'm very confused here. Also, like, you brought your own explosives, so all we have to do is tap you with maybe like 100-pounder, and you're going. Like, this is great.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to read it, but could you put Hunch's comment on the screen?
Oh, Hunch is here. Good. You got to match that energy.
Not wrong. He's not wrong.
Look, he's absolutely correct. You have to match that energy. If you want to survive, you have to match that energy, baby.
There are 0 lies detected here.
It's like that movie Death Race, where like you have to race to death to live. That is literally driving on the highways today when you're not sure if the guy in the truck next to you is like an American and can read the signs, or if he's just gonna like turn left into oncoming traffic and be like,
like, hey, I'm just gonna go the wrong way for the next 37 miles. Here we go.
Hey,
yeah.
Look who else was able to join us.
You know, it was a week ago today when Hunch actually pulled off tactical surprise on me, which was hard to do. When he, while we were on the air, he sent me a text message and says, "I'll be there by 9." I'm like, "Where? Like my house?" He's like, "Yes."
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he was.
Well done.
Looks like Scott has joined us in chat format only. You know, Scott, there is a link that puts you right here in the show.
I believe he may or may not actually be on duty.
Oh, that's right. No, I thought perhaps he would. He was taking an extended meal break or something. But
he's probably on lunch. But yeah.
We'll just wave. Hi.
Yeah, good to see you, Scott. We missed you yesterday. I'm sure that you added these two because you saw the run length of Monday's show and were like, ooh, they need guests.
Sometimes Molly and I shows when it's just the two of us could go for like an entire day if we let
Oh,
ourselves.
we could be on all day long just because really that's what the podcast is. It's just she and I like talk about our weeks and what's going on in the news. And the only time that we like really have like, okay, we really need to wrap this up is when we've got guests. So we have to be respectful of other people's time.
Hey, thank you, Low Key LARP, for dropping 10 subscriptions.
Holy cow.
Chat.
Yeah, let me find a way to graphically pop that on screen. Hold up.
Boy, Juan Cholo almost nailed it right on the head. Is he phoning in from the middle of Tehran with Ron? That is way more accurate.
Well, thank you so much, Loki LARP. Hey, guys, if you haven't done so already, if you need a membership over on Rumble, head on over there, type literally anything in the chat, and it will give it to you. So there you go. Appreciate you, Loki LARP. Also, while that's coming in, we might as well acknowledge that we just got $5 from Lance Corporal Veteran over on YouTube. Lance Corporal Veteran says, truck driving while Indian, making a left turn while turning right. Good luck, everybody.
Yes, I live in Dallas, and we see a lot of drivers that are not of American heritage. That does not mean they're in this country illegally. It just means that they're a terrible driver. That's all that means. And plenty of Americans are terrible drivers. Just ask my children. We talk about it in the car every single day. Like, you see that guy? He just turned left. Was the light red or green? It was red. Should he have turned? No, he should not have turned. Okay.
So you know how like some things can be problems for so long that the problem gets attributed to something else. I'm not saying this is the fact, right? I'm not saying this is the facts. But here's the deal. I grew up and everybody knew that California drivers were the worst drivers. Everybody knew this. And this was true across many states. This was true across almost anywhere you would go. They'd be like, fear the California license plate. I am beginning to wonder if the foreign drivers thing has been such a problem in some places for so long that is why the stereotype of bad California drivers exists.
California is a hub for foreign people.
It's possible.
Correct.
It is possible.
You have to put California in air quotes.
Well, and then you have to ask how long have they been doing it? And it seems to me like probably somewhere in the order of 30 years when you're tracking this back. So
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, that's probably why Dallas has so many bad drivers.
Do you guys remember? This is kind of like a niche thing, but do you remember back in Obama, like during Obama years, where we were talking about immigration and immigration reform, and California Mexican communities reacted with, well, you know what? Fine, we're just going to do a day without a Mexican, and they all stayed home from work. And like, no, they did. They picked one day and they all stayed home from work. They basically went on racial strike.
Okay.
And I can tell you right now, driving from my home in Temecula at the time to the job site was a dream. There was the roads were clear. Everybody was orderly. I actually didn't know what to do. I was in my 20s and fit right in with the California drivers. So that should tell you how bad it is. Because I do not drive in my car without the radio all the way up. What noise under the hood? I don't know. I got Mambo number 5 going.
Somebody in the chat.
Yeah, no, I think.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's just like I think that you're onto something there. That it's just because there are so many people that don't have the same like concepts of road that we do. That. I agree.
Well, and you almost have to wonder if, hey, I know I'm getting this license illegally, and therefore I know that certain consequences probably won't come to me, and then that sort of engenders.
And then they never have insurance and shit like that. But
exactly. Yeah.
We had several, so we live Sleepy Little Farm community. We have nothing. We're surrounded by nothing but cows and onions. And we had, I think it was like 7 deaths, one right after another. They had brought in during the harvest season a new crew of truckers out of California, and they just were blowing that stoplight and knocking into people left, right, and center. And we had somewhere around 7 fatalities right in a row.
Oh no!
Yeah, we
don't have a lot of people in our town. We can't just keep running them over.
Yeah, no, I mean, you have a very small town population. If you just
Mhm.
like blow through them faster than the natural repopulation happens, you eventually become a ghost
Mhm.
town. No pun
Yeah.
intended.
I just have to say before we move on that I live in a similar place, only replace onions with potatoes. And if we trade and we get a pig, we could make a pretty good Dutch oven potato dish. Just saying.
Yeah, that would be good. But you have to raise the pig. I don't like them. They scare the shit out of me.
Deal.
I don't like their faces. Look at their faces. They're weird. They have weird faces.
It's factual. Real quick, let's get back into this. So as I was saying, we took out their mine laying ships. Ran more interest day 12 as uncertainty grew over and amid continued attacks and mounting human toll. Iranian and Lebanese health officials and Israeli authorities say more than 12. Hold on. You know what? It's cutting off half the story. I'm going to fix it, but it's not going to look pretty while I do it. So I got to do this. Yeah. There we go. Israeli authorities have reported that more than 1,200 people killed in Iran, 570 in Lebanon, and 12 in Israel. 7 U.S. soldiers have died, says the Pentagon. The Pentagon also said Tuesday that roughly 140 U.S. soldiers have been injured by Iranian missiles and drone strikes. 8 of those injuries were considered severe, but more were described as minor. Yeah, we should point out, like, when they say 140 U.S. soldiers being injured, that would probably include like literally anybody who got hit by flying debris to such that the corpsman had to put a bandage on them, right?
Mhm.
So just
Yeah.
go ahead.
I saw where the press secretary, Caroline Levitt, said that of the 140, like 108 of them had already returned to duty. So obviously those injuries were minor enough that they got, checked out, and then a Band-Aid, a stitch,
Yeah.
a lollipop, and then sent back on whatever. So 140 is a really big number. And then when you pull it back and you realize over 100 of them have already returned to duty, okay, well, that's less scary sounding. You know what I mean?
Right.
By
Yeah.
the
Real
way,
quick,
when U.S. military medics hand out a lollipop, it's a fentanyl lollipop.
it is.
Well, I wasn't going to tell everybody our secrets, but yeah.
My God.
Well,
and this is
speaking
why
of
you
dirty
have
tricks,
a Fed.
right? Well, speaking of dirty tricks, Jim, good morning.
Hey guys, how are you?
Doing
Hello.
excellent. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
No worries.
Any
No worries.
updates before we continue to move on with the news? Do you want to anything for the folks at home?
No, just good to see everyone, and been an interesting week.
Getting buttoned up
fentanyl
for
lollipops do their job well.
getting buttoned up for this snowstorm I hear is coming up your guys' way. I hear.
Yeah, it's supposed to be happening. We'll see. I mean, you never know here. It's like I called Joe and said, "Hey, you coming to town?" He said, "No, it's snowing here." And I'm like, "No, okay." No snow on my end of the battle, but we'll see how this looks a little bit larger, so we'll see how it goes. So I posted last night about
across the driveway from the house yesterday, but it was.
Again?
But then I went 5 miles south, and there was no snow. It was crazy.
No.
He was saying he couldn't see the trees in front of the gatehouse yesterday.
Wow, nice. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be, though. So yeah, I just I posted yesterday about Thad and Pat's excellent adventure to the Gulf, and the disappearance of our anti-aircraft missiles from Korea in support of our allies and personal needs. So I thought that was an interesting discussion that popped up this week. But that's all I got, guys. Aside from that, it's more just everything's normal, and we'll see where it goes.
Well, fantastic. Thanks for joining us. We're definitely going to have some oil talk. We'll be happy to have you a part of because, boy, things sure went exactly as Watcher said they would go. Let's see. Pentagon also said Tuesday that roughly 140 U.S. soldiers. Oh, hold on. We've already done this one. Let's go. Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell said that many of the injuries occurred at U.S. bases in countries neighboring Iran. I will say that part of the reason for all of the lightly injured or just a couple very seriously injured are that most of these rockets that Iran is firing are not super high quality. They're not packed with a ton of explosives. And the way these things tend to work out is that you either get a direct hit and you have guys that are really badly injured or dead, or it hits basically nothing and you have a bunch of fragments that get tossed into the air and then people get hit with little chips. Those are the two options. So yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. Those is we don't want any numbers on our side ever, but as far as trading numbers, I will take 1,800 to 8. That's
Yeah.
Reminder, as bad as it sounds, that during the Battle of Mogadishu, Gothic Serpent, we lost 19 Americans wounded. We killed like 2,000 to 3,000 of the enemy. So I'll take that every day.
Exactly. IDF confirms killing Supreme Leader's military security based in real-time emerging intel. I thought
that's called metadata on your phone. Stop turning on your phone.
Well, no, and so here's the best part, Joe. Technically wrong. It was the metadata on his bodyguard's phone. Because they did get smart. They were like, all of our leaders have to get rid of our phones.
That's how they found Khomeini, because he didn't use a phone, but his bodyguards all did. So.
Exactly. Because they were like, oh, quick, we need to get all of our leaders need to stop using phones because the Israelis are using it to track us. And then they thought not even a second about all of the people standing around the leaders that also had phones on them. Not even a brief second did they think that, hey, wait, that's the same thing. Love it. I just love it. Oh, looks like Danielle is back.
Actually, I had a spammer call me and I hit cancel and then all my audio disappeared again. So,
you've been transported back to the 90s where when you receive a phone call, your internet goes out.
Basically, yes.
So a top Iranian general who was killed in an airstrike in Tehran yesterday was targeted within an hour of fresh intelligence having been received by the military, according to the IDF. I just have to say it's amazing that we're servicing high-level targets with the same speed and accuracy as frontline combat troops are servicing counter-battery fire. That's amazing.
It's even equally amazing that the defense minister of the nation of Israel is named Israel.
Yeah, I've enjoyed that one. Israel Katz earlier said that I'm not even going to try on that one. Sorry. Nope.
The dude.
Joe, help me. What is
Ababian?
Oh, man.
Gesundheit.
That guy, the military secretary to Iran's supreme leader, who was appointed last week despite the supreme leader's role being vacant following the assassination of Khomeini, was killed in an Israeli airstrike. The IDF now confirms killing him, saying he was targeted in Tehran on Saturday. The IDF says the strike targeted Babian was carried out following real-time emerging intelligence. The Israeli Air Force fighter jet took off for Iran while the intelligence was still being consolidated, and within 50 minutes of the information being received, the jet launched the munition that killed Babian. That is wow. The military says that in addition to being the intended head of the military bureau of the supreme leader, Babian was also chief of staff at the Kamat al-Abia Central Headquarters, also known as Israel's Military Emergency Command. Babian was responsible. Oh, go ahead.
Let me say two things. Obviously, this guy did not take Kay's ground rod course, which would have taught you that something like this is your friend. But you don't put your phone in a Faraday bag where you're going to be. Right? That gives you sort of a targeting thing. We do this problem to ourselves in America, in some of our forward operating bases. Where do you put your phone in the skiff at? At the skiff door, right? So when they see a collection of 3 or 4 phones all turn off at the exact same point, they know something good is happening there, and they send some love your way. So,
it's basically just a really complex game of Battleship at that point.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Okay, before we move on, one of our viewers did have an excellent comment that I can't let pass. Jay Clark says, sorry, I can't get to the phone. My computer will be downloading the Lord of the Rings trailer for the next 6 hours. Okay, facts, but I want to say we did not know how good we had it. I would go back in a heartbeat. I want my computer to scream at me like a demon every time I try and access the internet, just so I really get a flavor of what the internet is. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, speaking of, remember, okay. So Walt from Wargate sent my husband, who they were both, I guess Walt was a radio operator and Mike was a radio operator. So he sent him a little Bofang, and my husband has been playing with it all week. And he found, I know, it's so sweet. He's like a little kid again. But he found, we're sitting in the garage, and he found like all the frequencies for, he's like, this is what the internet sounds like today. And instead of it going like the AOL, it sounds like, you know, spirit boxes when they go in and they're like, oh, we're gonna go and like talk to, it's just that channel skipping.
Yes.
And he was so excited because he's like, this is what the internet sounds like today. And I'm like, okay. Such a happy boy.
I know. That makes me so happy.
Out that Molly's husband is a United States Marine.
I started to piece that together.
And he's married to Molly, so he's obviously a saint. So we love Mike.
Or just has a really, really, really high pain tolerance. Yeah.
Well, hey guys, this next
doesn't have to be a saint to put up with me.
This next one's kind of interesting. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but England of all places has been kind of being torn up in its streets over the Iran war. Weird.
No way.
So one of the things that happened is that they had a pro Shah, pro Reza, or kind of anti-regime protest that basically had a terror attack happen against it. I'm not 100% clear about what the casualties ended up being or how the attack was carried out. I just know that I saw that there were, I think I saw 30 or 40 ambulances that got streamed to the event from various different angles. And like, I never saw that it was mass casualty, but I saw that there was a huge response. So I don't know if it was just a street brawl that a bunch of people got injured in, or if something seriously happened, but a couple days, like yesterday or something. And I think maybe Jim, do you have anything on this?
Yeah, there's been some interesting problems in London because there's so many pro-Reza guys kind of pooled there, and as we know, there's a lot of fairly aggressive jihadi stuff there because the countries in the Middle East send their difficult young people to live in London and continue their education. This is how Saad Modar ended up with a bunch of multi-million-dollar condos across from the Israeli embassy. All the young people in the Middle East from wealthy families end up having property in London. So always going to be a conflict, regardless of what you're pissed off about in London.
Did you guys see the Australian on a bus who blew himself up?
Austrian.
I thought it was Australia. Was it Austria?
I might be wrong, but I thought I read that headline as Austrian. But I'll look that up here in a minute. But yeah, I did see it. We'll have
Either way, somebody blew themselves up on a bus.
So as far as I saw, they were trying to self-immolate, but they trapped everybody on board.
Yeah, and then took like 4 or 5 other people. Was this the bus? Yes. Yeah. I saw like 6 fatalities.
There's some interesting attacks going
on.
Like
that. Yeah.
Just be frosty. Lots of crazy folk in the street.
Right?
Yeah.
So real quick, anyways, after that attack happened in London, a call went out, and apparently they are now banning the pro-Iran side, calling it a hate march, which I'm not going to lie.
An interesting turn of events. That's strange.
Yes.
Not something I saw the Home Office doing.
Nope.
Well, you have a weird situation where the Home Office really wants Reza and his team to get some support, but you have the City of London, which is pro status quo and biased to South Asia, being very heavily anti, right? So there's an inherent conflict, but that's kind of how you saw it go. The Home Office was on board with this. The City of London was able to never put its fingers on it, and then there was a bit of a kerfuffle after it didn't go nicely for someone. But this is an ugly long-term disagreement. There are millions of diaspora Iranians who want to go home. And the only way they get to go home or help their families that are still in Iran are by getting rid of this radicalized government. These guys are nuts. Everybody's known they're nuts for decades. So it's underway. Let's hope they figure it out.
How the media is bending over backwards to pretend as though Iran is not conducting asymmetric responses. Like, these attacks rarely make the news. If they do, it's a short blurb and there's no follow-up. Or you write a headline like CNN did about the poor Muslim scholars who were somehow arrested for throwing bombs. So.
I saw that. I was like, that's got to be an AI headline. And then I went and checked it myself, like a grown-up should. And I was like, holy crap, they actually did that.
Apology was a lie. They said it didn't meet our editorial standards. No, it absolutely met your editorial standards.
Didn't meet anybody's standards except your own, because you constantly lie to the American people.
I can't forget, no, come on, Danielle, let's cut them some slack. How many times have you gone to the grocery store and reached into your pocket and been like, oh shit, there's a bomb?
I can't answer that question on the advice of my attorneys, but yeah.
We got a couple super chats.
Oh, on Rumble?
One on Rumble, one on YouTube.
Okay, let me...
No, I'm not getting the audio.
Uh-oh.
I can't hear Joe. I can't hear Dano.
Oh, I had the same problem. I had to keep going in and out.
So if you can hear me, I'm typing it to you in the private chat as well. You might have to leave and come back. StreamYards is kind of just being dumb. All right, so I am not seeing a super chat on Rumble.
The Rumble was the 10 by was low-key low.
Okay.
But there is one, a $5 one on YouTube.
Was it okay, yeah. Juan Cholo here. Are CIWS or anti-aircraft guns effective on drones? Wouldn't they be much cheaper than missiles?
They're too slow moving for the software to track. The software that's loaded into those is designed to track incoming missiles, and drones move way too slowly, and the guns can't track them.
Also, I'm gonna look this up real quick. Yeah, actually, so interesting fact: the drone that we are currently using to take those out. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's pretty cool. It's called the Blackjack. It is teeny tiny. It is. I think it's like a sub. I think it weighs like less than 3 pounds. Just four little engines down at the base, and then a fairly large cone coming off the top, kind of like these racing drones that you see. It's basically a racing drone with a tiny explosive in the head of it. They cost like $300 a pop, and it turns out that's actually cheaper than a CIWS round, because a CIWS round per round costs $458, and you don't just fire one; you fire a couple hundred per burst. So yeah, we're actually doing it in the cost-effective way at the moment.
We also have another experimental thing called the Metal Storm. It's basically a giant disc, and it's loaded with 22 caliber rounds, and it just shoots a wall of steel up into the sky. So, but those are very expensive, and they're only good once.
And now that as long as we're bringing it up, I don't remember his name, but I need to find him. Over on X, there's a gentleman from Arizona, I believe, who, using very basic electronics like a Raspberry Pi, has fully developed a turret system that utilizes 240 Golfs and 240 Bravos, which we have an abundant stockpile of, in order to create a fully automated anti-drone turret that can be slapped on top of any vehicle.
That is beautiful.
I mean, any vehicle, it can go on pickups.
I warned Watcher not to nerd out about chickens. I forgot to warn him not to nerd out about drones.
So,
I love it so much.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and they've already got a contract locked down with the Pentagon, so we should be seeing that coming out here shortly.
I want to get one of those Raspberry Pis for my kid, because it's just every time I hear about like anything of like any kind of practical use, it seems to have something like that attached to it.
The Toyota-thon drone sweepstakes. That's pretty great. All right. Next, cargo vessel erupts in flames in Strait of Hormuz after being struck by unknown projectile amid escalating Middle East conflict. Joe, I'll tell you who might be the biggest customer for those drone turrets. Ambry.
Yeah, I don't know that Ambry is actually operating in the Gulf. They're a little bit further south, but I think they are working on that. And there's a couple of others that are operating in the Gulf. There's money to be made, but there's not much that an onboard security team can do for inbound missiles. It's more of an anti-piracy measure.
True.
Although they have been known to turn away the IRGC from boarding attempts.
So unfortunately, I have to report that the Filipinos are once again getting the short end of the stick in a Middle Eastern conflict. Joe, I think this is the one that says this, but one of their vessels is one of the ones that got struck, and it sounds to me from the damage report that we're seeing like they got it the worst. Didn't you say there were 3 crew missing?
Yeah, there's 3 that are still missing. 20 were rescued, but a bunch of those 20 have gone back on board because they have got the fire out somehow, and the ship is still making headway, so they're going to get it into port. But we do have 3 missing and presumed dead from the missile strike.
So a cargo vessel erupts in flames after being struck by an unidentified projectile while transiting through the highly strategic Strait of Hormuz. According to the United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations, the ship was hit while transiting the narrow waterway near the coast of Oman. The impact triggered a fire on board, forcing the crew to evacuate and call for emergency assistance, as we just said. UK MTO is that's the same thing. Maritime authorities were investigating a second security incident near the United Arab Emirates after another commercial vessel was reportedly struck by an unidentified projectile. The latest incident occurred approximately 50 nautical miles northwest of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. In a statement, UK MTO said that the master of a bulk carrier reported the vessel had been struck by an unknown projectile while transiting the strait. Almost definitely drones, by the way. If confirmed as a deliberate attack, the incident could mark a dangerous escalation in the region. President Donald Trump previously warned that any attempt to disrupt the strait would trigger severe consequences from the U.S. military. As the Gateway Pundit has extensively reported, Iran's IRGC has been issuing dire warnings to ships attempting to navigate the Strait of Hormuz, declaring that no ship is allowed to pass in a blatant act of international piracy. Then President Trump urged commercial oil tankers to show some guts and push through the Strait of Hormuz. I'm going to pause here, and I'm going to say that I was fairly dissatisfied with this statement, given that we're not sailing our Navy through the strait. I don't think we have the requisite moral high ground from which to be decrying the lack of guts of the tanker commanders. Am I off base here, gentlemen? And ladies, sorry. Reflexive.
Oh, please. It's fine.
It's fine. Don't worry. We're like the last ones to be like, oh, you misgendered me.
Yeah, that's not going to happen with us.
Well, technically, in the English language, it's more gentlemen than ladies. So, correct. Correct. Grammatically correct. No, I don't believe that you are off base.
Does anybody know why we're not there yet? Like, I understand the small fleet swarms, blah, blah, blah. We still have to take that on. It's not like we can just let it sit there.
So from what I've been hearing is that they're going to take the islands, Karg, Keshem, and a few other places on the coast. But to do that, they're going to need a Marine force. They'll need Marine air. But at some point, they're going to need to be patrolling with lower cost platforms and lower cost weapon systems in order to be prepared to take out drone and drone delivery mechanisms, i.e. ships and small trucks and so on and so forth. So it'll get interesting. They'll have to do some sweeps along that piece of coast, and that's a fairly big piece of territory.
Are you telling me that the Marines get to do a new island hopping campaign?
No, I'm saying the Marines actually get to do something in this one, which will make everybody really happy.
We did stuff in Praying Mantis, the last time we boarded a ship underway. But
Yeah, but your collars were from the edge of your shoulders, and you wore very bright colored plastic shirts and danced to disco music.
Where's my bayonet when I need it? I think what you'll see is ships hugging the coastline and trying to skirt around there and try to be not out of range of Iranian missiles, because they're not going to be, but within shore-based anti-air coverage.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's going to get ugly, but they're going to have to start doing hunter sweeps along the Iranian coast to destroy anything that may be held back. Or, but this has been done before. It was done with sea mines. We've got the book. We just need to get the ships moving, and the ships benefit Asia, China, right? It's really not our issue. They want to make it our issue, but I don't see the Southeast Asian nations and Europe putting ships in there to protect the free flow of energy.
What would be great, and it's probably a too power of a move for us to try, but is we approach China and say, hey, you know what? You've done a great job helping us in the anti-piracy task force off Djibouti. Drink. There it is. I said it. Why don't you contribute a task force, because you have one in the Gulf, to escorting ships through the Straits of Hormuz? Make them play a card, right? Say, hey, look, you're an international partner. Here's your chance.
I think what should be happening here is the GCC should be doing the coastal interdiction stuff. We should be asking their navies and air forces to coordinate. We'll coordinate it for them if they don't want to coordinate it themselves. But between the Saudi Arabians and the GCC, they have a sufficiency of forces that they could do that, and say, we just want you to stop any attacks from the Iranian coast on transit, and send them out on a daily basis to do those kind of sweeps, because they've got the helicopters, they've got the aircraft, they've got the training, they've got the commando teams. So that would be an ask that would make sense now that they've all been attacked.
I want to point out that the coolest video I've seen all week, speaking of that, was a Qatari AH-64 engaging an inbound missile. Now, when you're using attack helicopters to shoot down missiles, it might not be effective, but that's cool.
I saw a very interesting comment on that from a former pilot that was like, Raytheon is creaming its pants right now, because that air attack option has been on the helicopter since they designed it back in the 70s, and this is the first time it has ever been used in any context.
This is another example of my tax dollars somehow also my tax dollars.
Always and forever. Let's see. On Tuesday, according to a report from CBS News, U.S. intelligence officials believe Iran may be taking steps to deploy naval mines in the shipping lanes of the Strait of Hormuz. I'm going to pause for just a second and say I saw an example of some of these naval mines and was very unimpressed. Gentlemen, did you see the rocket deployed mines that they have been putting out?
No.
It's basically, well, first of all, a rocket cannot carry enough load to be an effective mine. And second, when they deploy, they just kind of float on the surface. And also, they sent 4 of them.
Most mines float on the surface unless they're moored to the bottom.
Right. But what I mean is, in combination with incredibly small and not very effective, floating on the surface and easy to observe, and only 4 of them, creates the world's shittiest minefield.
Yeah, it's been feeble, which is good, but there's some really, really sophisticated mines out there in people's warehouses, and those are the ones that you got to be careful, because they're very hard to collect. They don't float; they sit on the bottom, and they're attuned to certain waveforms or magnetic anomalies, and then they surface towards they're actually targeted. They surface towards the target, and they're pretty good at blowing props off ships and punching holes in tankers.
May I ask a question?
Chinese and Russian ones, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so you were saying that it's Chinese and Russian. That was actually my question. It would be like, what are the odds of where do they have access to this, and do they have any kind of a back channel where they could possibly have these to become a problem in the future?
I'll let Jim speak more on it. So they have them, but I've heard that there's a question of whether they have access to them. Mm-hmm. Okay, fun little strategic thing here. And this goes back a very long ways. When your enemy creates an impenetrable fortress in which to store an unbelievable amount of munitions, what do?
Blow it up.
Yeah, well, it'd be harder to blow it up, but what we decided to do was blow up the entrances and seal them shut.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some question as to whether they have access to some of these exquisite stuff. Like, for instance, I don't know if anybody remembers this. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but I think it was last year, Iran was boasting that, or no, it was 2 years ago, that Iran was boasting that they had these submarines, these UAV submarine mines. Mm-hmm. And they I think they actually released one. Joe, am I getting this right? They released one, and it didn't quite do what they wanted it to do. But we haven't heard anything about any of that since then.
Okay.
Well, it's a sub-deployed mine. It's still the same kind of mine. It's just that it being closer to the bottom, the weight that holds it in place gets to the bottom quicker. Gotcha. So let's talk about how naval mines work. In order for them to work, they have to be at or just below the surface where the ships are. Mm-hmm. Ships don't have very much draft, right? They don't get very deep in the ocean. So the submerged mines actually have a weight that goes all the way to the bottom and releases a chain that holds the mine 10 feet below the surface, 20 feet below the surface, whatever it is, probably no more than 20 feet. So they attempted deploying one from a submarine, and I don't think it worked as well as they thought.
Yeah. Real quick, a note on this. Somebody says they could clear the rubble from the entrance. Yes, they can. But the thing about that is we can see when they do it, because the thing about rubble is that it has to go somewhere. And then we have satellites that fly over roughly every 15 minutes. So, and then when they do that, we hit them again. As I understand it from the channels I've been watching, we've been playing that game for a couple days now, where we just wait for them to bring in enough equipment for it to look enticing, start working, and then destroy it. Not only that, but apparently we've started to this is all just relying on reporting that I've seen from OSINT accounts, but it looks very much like we have started to get good enough at preemptively destroying these launchers they're erecting before they're even able to fire a missile, by using satellite imagery and then re-uploading it in the same way we looked at with that last story, where they had intelligence and then had a jet take off before they even fully signed up on all the intelligence, and then within 50 minutes of receiving it had a missile going downrange. Very much like that, but more on the order of like 10, 15, 20 minutes. And so we're ending up hitting these erector trucks before they're even shooting, which is part of why look, I've seen a lot of reports that, missile attacks continue. If you look at the numbers, that's what's telling. First of all, the number of waves of these attacks has gone down exponentially. You're looking at like roughly 3 attacks a day now, and that's down from it was constant after. You're also looking at incredibly fewer missiles per attack. I think last night we had 6 total in 2 waves. Like, they are running through whatever stockpile they have access to above ground rather quickly.
Yeah. I would like to point out, Danielle and I, neither one of us giggled after you said erecting and erector, and I believe that we get cookies a medal for this.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I think it's a medal. It's called
neither
the
of us.
Yeah.
We were good girls and we did not snicker.
Yay!
Yay for us!
All right. So intelligence estimates suggest that Iranian regime possesses between 2,000 and 6,000 naval mines, many capable of being deployed by small boats or other vessels operating in the Persian Gulf. President Trump responded forcefully on Truth Social, making it clear that any attempt by Iran to mine the straits would be met with overwhelming consequences, which it then was. Quote, if Iran has been puts out any mines in the Strait of Hormuz, and we have no reports of them doing so, we want them removed immediately. If for any reason mines were placed and they are not removed forthwith, the military consequences to Iran will be at a level never before seen. If, on the other hand, they remove what may have been placed, it will be a giant step in the right direction. Additionally, we are using the same technology and missile capabilities deployed against drug traffickers to permanently eliminate any boat or ship attempting to mine the Hormuz Strait. They will be dealt with quickly, violently. Beware. And I just have to say, again, unlike the drug traffickers, you're going to pack your own explosives, meaning I only have to hit you with like maybe 100-pounder in order to kick off the secondary. Please do this, please.
Or as we've seen with the Aubrey teams in the Red Sea, if you put enough 7.62 by 51 rounds in a vehicle, in a boat, it will detonate whatever is on board.
Just mix the tracers in a lot heavier than you normally would, right? Like 1 to 3.
Oh my God.
It's gonna be like Star Wars out here. It's great. Just 13 minutes later, Trump returned to the Truth Social with a dramatic update revealing that U.S. forces had already taken action. I am pleased to report within the last few hours, we have hit and completely destroyed 10 inactive military mine-laying boats and or ships, with more to follow. The military updated that almost, I think, 10 minutes later, saying that the total was actually 16.
But again, the key word in that is inactive. Those were tied up alongside the pier, and they weren't actually in the act of laying mines. So
yeah. Let's see. Although one of them was the one that we featured on our headline image. Let me pull that back up because I thought it was kind of cool. And what is it with Iranians and catamarans? Because that was the other one I saw.
Point
They
out
think
a
they're
naval
sexy.
point here. This is the first time since World War II that someone has struck a navy inside its own port. After World War II, there was kind of a general consensus that, hey, if we tell your ships to stay in port and they stay in port, no one will touch them, right? But that's not the case here. We've been blowing up things alongside the pier in Bandar Abbas the whole time. So that's a significant escalation and deviation from our normal policy.
Yeah. I will say, though, that we have been at least waiting for them to say they're going to use it before we blow them up, right? Because the mine ships have been there since day one, and we waited until they said, we're going to mine the strait before we were like, I bet.
I think what we're waiting for is satellite thermal imagery that shows heating in the ship's engines. And once they start to warm up a ship, we sink it.
Yeah. So I guess I actually had this out of order. We're moving back to the blast story here. 3 more vessels hit by projectiles in Strait of Hormuz, showing merchant ships remain in firing line. So that's the one I think this is the Thai vessel we were talking about, right, Joe?
This is the vessel.
That's the Thai vessel.
That ship specifically in the picture is the Thai ship that was hit. So yes.
Let's see. 3 vessels have been hit. Strait of Hormuz. Maritime security and risk firms said Wednesday, bringing the number of ships struck in the region since the Iran conflict began to 14. Shipping along the narrow strait has come to a near standstill since the United States and Israel began the strikes on Iran February 28th, preventing export of around a fifth of the world's oil supply and sending global oil prices surging to highs not seen since 2022. Iran's Revolutionary Guard have warned that any ship passing through the strait will be targeted. U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to ramp up U.S. attacks on Iran if it continues to obstruct the strait. Thai-flagged Muri Nari dry bulk vessel has been struck by 2 projectiles of unknown origin while sailing through the strait on Wednesday, causing a fire and damage to the engine room. The ship's Thai-listed operator, Precious Shipping, said in a statement, 3 crew members are reported missing and believed to be trapped in the engine room. Dear God.
Oh, no.
That's terrible.
Oh.
As it's flooding and on fire. So we can
Yes.
assume that they did not make it.
Again, I have to ask, what is it with Iran and Iran-backed militias in the region and just absolutely murdering ties? What is this?
It's just that Thailand exports people all over the world as cheap labor. But Thailand has also always been a maritime nation, so they have Thai sailors all over. I want to point out that a lot of people said, "Oh, this is a war crime." It's not actually a war crime. If you declare a section of the sea as a war zone, all shipping is therefore subject to targeting. So,
Yeah. The company is working with relevant authorities to rescue those 3 remaining crew members, it said, adding that the remaining 20 crew members have been safely evacuated and were ashore in Oman. Images provided by the Thai Navy showed smoke pouring out the back of the ship. The U.S. Navy has refused near daily requests from the shipping industry for military escort to the Strait of Hormuz. That's what I'm talking about. Why are we doing that? There is something else going on here. There is a piece of this puzzle we are not seeing. Why is the Navy not owning those waters?
Because
Maybe
it
they're going to
doesn't.
do something else.
Because it doesn't impact us as much as it impacts the Asians. I think they're looking for somebody else to stand up and take responsibility.
I think
But
they're
I mean,
hoping the French or the
doesn't-
British pull their head out of their asses and actually start helping.
Oh,
Since
that's
we're
not
the
gonna
ones
happen.
saving them.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but people are trying to be hopeful. I mean, come
I
on,
know,
Molly,
I know,
we're
I know.
trying to be hopeful.
Sorry,
Actually,
I am sorry.
That's a
to
point.
But hold on.
The Gulf
Navies
Navies should be coordinating a group of Asian countries to support them as they make their transit safe.
This
In
is
my
their
point.
this is their territorial waters and their EEZs. I don't understand why they're not the ones stepping up.
I agree totally with you. So there will be some conversations going on somewhere, and I think that's what it's about. And they've just never been asked to do something of this magnitude. And so they'll need some hand holding, but they have the capacity to spend the money on the vessels, and their vessels are designed for the Gulf.
I'm going to do something very uncharacteristic of myself. And I will say it first. I'm already getting a bad taste in my mouth over this. I have to defend the French.
No way.
But they did, in fact, send the Charles de Gaulle. It's just not there yet.
How convenient.
Yeah. So,
They're one cute toy ship. Cool.
yeah, they're one actual functional ship, which the last update they did to it, they wanted to let everybody know that I'm not even making this up. This sounds like I'm making this up as a joke. I'm not. They literally made a 5-minute video about how they had increased the baguette production capability of the galley to over 10,000 baguettes a day.
My God, she is war ready now.
But what about the brie and the wine? These are the important things we need to know.
Thank
The
you,
brie and the
Danielle, once
wine.
again. My girl coming in clutch for the really important issues.
I will point out, though, that the French Air Force and French naval aircraft have been doing some serious heavy lifting in the Gulf states over the last 12 days. They are running a lot of air defense over the UAE and Qatar. So they are actually in the fight.
Which, by the way, thing's not on my bingo card. Anybody want to take a stab at why the UAE is getting it so heavy? Because they've been hit with almost 3 times the number of projectiles as any other nation.
I have a theory. Does it have to do with data processing centers?
I'm pretty sure the UAE did launch some offensive strikes on Iran proper.
Because I was reading it somewhere in like the noise of the media that you're kind of like getting bits and pieces for, that a lot of these drone strikes that went off initially were hitting data centers and Amazon centers, and it's like when the cartel burned the Costco in Puerto Vallarta. It's not so much that they're hitting the UAE and Dubai and these other areas. It's that they're hitting American interests there.
Things that will affect America and American interests, businesses, tourism. I mean, we have a lot of very wealthy American or American expats that live in Dubai and UAE, and now they're all fleeing. There was also a story about a bunch of people leaving their pets behind, which is just disgusting. That is a whole other topic. They're fleeing for their lives, and they're just leaving their dogs chained up on the fence at the gate of their house. Yes, I know. I'm ready to fly over there and bring all the puppies home, but my passport's expired. And I'm a married woman now, so now I have to go deal with the whole married name, and that doesn't match.
Children, and I am not going to go to a
I know, I'm not either.
foreign
I'm
organization
under the
to save
belief
puppies, but I will.
that married women are not
Happily
capable
meet.
of changing their name. That's what I've heard.
I know. I
also
expect
heard
this
this.
to take for the rest of my life to go from my maiden name passport to my married name passport.
Well,
I'm
listen,
perfectly happy to just stand at the end of the runway and just like meet the people who are fleeing with my best wooden spoon and just line them up and bend them over.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now listen, Joe. I just have to say that I was recently informed that in fact the whole the SAVE Act is going to disenfranchise women thing. It's a lie, and so I would like to withdraw my support.
Hey, I have a stupid question. Really, really dumb question. With going back to what we were talking about earlier about waiting for somebody in that area to take control of the situation. Right. Does that not open a door for maybe a Chinese response?
If
Maybe.
they had the ass to be able to back that up, maybe. But they have one base, one overseas base. It is in the area, and it only will support small ships.
Okay.
So if we keep blowing their ships out of the water, they can't come in. Okay.
Jim, what did Jim have to say there? He was about to chime in.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear Jim. Jim?
Yeah, it's we really don't want the Chinese involved. Let them focus on other things right now, like purging their military leadership. I think it would be very good if the GCC led this one, and let the U.S. handle the complexities of jointness, which we're very good at doing. But they've got a lot of equipment. But I think also the Iranians are attacking Dubai specifically because most of them put their money there, and their money's been seized. So they're pissed.
If they can't have it, no one can.
Yeah, and the IRGC is just horribly corrupt. I mean, you look at some of the assets that the Ayatollah's son has in London alone. It's pretty staggering how many billions of dollars they've skimmed out of the country and put in their own name in foreign entities. A lot of the foreign entities are based in Dubai. So
I feel like I read $100 billion of money basically has become the Ayatollah family's personal wealth because it's all been stolen from, oil sales and all the other corrupt shit they're doing. Does that sound believable? Like $100 billion with a B?
Humanitarian aid that they have bled off. Yes.
Yeah, all that shit.
It sounds perfectly reasonable. They have houses everywhere, buildings everywhere, businesses everywhere, banks everywhere.
Yeah, the real estate holdings in London are almost predominantly held by foreign people. They're almost not held by British citizens. So yeah.
What? That's crazy.
I know.
It's insane.
Hey, there's a joke that begs to be told here. And earlier we were all serious about China having one overseas base and all that. Refresh my memory, Watcher. Where's that base?
Oh, right up Djibouti.
Right up Djibouti. All right.
They're on the flaccid side of Camp Lemonnier.
It's funny. He's not even exaggerating that.
There's one thing that keeps the Chinese from being able to enter Djibouti proper, and it's the Japanese. So,
Cock blockers.
And Molly is now in orbit. You might as well just mute her. She'll be a few minutes. Don't mind her.
Oh, you know what's funny is what I just looked at is literally on my screen right now. It really is the Japanese. Sorry.
Anyway, all right, let's try. It's a good thing Molly is not holding a chicken on her lap today.
No, she's just drinking a hot coffee. It's fine.
I made it through erector and erection, and that was I can't.
Hey, Alpha Charlie Concept, you know that the word flaccid has been banned from this show for some time because of Jim.
But it's such a good word.
Wait, that sounds way worse than it really is, Jim. My apologies.
Djibouti is already full of Japanese sailors.
Well, then they're definitely with the Navy.
Well, that's funny because I didn't know they were there.
It's actually not quite true because they can't quite make it in.
That's what I was just going to say.
Oh, my God. How am I the only one that's acting like an adult? I'm just seriously wondering.
Yeah, that's a rarity. That is a rarity.
I know. I must have woken up on the adult side of the bed this morning. Jeez.
John points out that not only is it a Japanese base, they're Japanese seamen.
It's true.
I knew that would do it.
You know, on a real note on that, I do wonder how long it's going to be before the Japanese do actually start participating in stuff like that now that they've changed their constitution. Now that they can actually have outgoing, and that is explicitly why they are changing their constitution to allow them to have an aggressive military. Just as a for instance, I know that we've talked about it on the show before, or actually, I don't know if we did talk about this. Did you guys see that the Japanese are putting anti-air defense missiles on their southernmost island? Which is, it's
not anti-aircraft.
Kind of like a little Iron Dome over their little island.
Not anti-aircraft.
Apparently, so anti-shipping missiles.
They're putting strike missiles.
Oh my God!
What? Okay, so for the dumb girl in the room, what is a strike missile? Explain it to me like it's simple.
Okay, so that would be the missile that basically, hey, if you fuck around, we're going to hit you in the mainland.
Okay, one of those. Gotcha.
Basically, it means too is you turn on a radar emitter, the missile homes in on the radar.
Ooh.
We're gonna harm you.
Yeah,
it definitely sounds spicy.
But they're putting the missile on one of the home islands, Kyushu, rather than the disputed Senkaku/Daiwu islands, depending on who you are and what country you're from. So they're going to keep them on their islands rather than put them into disputed chain, which is actually pretty smart.
Yeah, as far as I heard it, though it's still unbelievably close. It's 60 miles from Taiwan, is what I'm hearing, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
The report I was saying said that you can actually see the islands from Taiwan on a clear day.
Oh,
wow.
I will point out, as I am wont to do, that Taiwan is not China. So.
Yeah. Fact.
Yeah. So this is the report.
Yeah.
The newly deployed Type 12 surface-to-ship missiles with a range of 1,000 kilometers will be positioned at Camp Kegun in Kumamoto. Further deployments are planned for Oita and Okinawa prefectures, which are the islands as far south as you can go. The last island is Yonaguni, which is the one that Joe was talking about, which is way down. They're going to put, you're correct, Joe, surface-to-air missiles there with 110 kilometer range by 2031 to strengthen Nansei Island. So they're not putting the strike missiles in the lowest island, but the U.S. government is reserving the rights to put its Typhoon system into those Nansei Islands. So I think the U.S. may have the strike capacity in those southern islands, and the Japanese may be a bit further north.
It makes sense though. With 1,000 miles, you can base those pretty much anywhere that Japan has and still be able to hit China.
These new missiles. Well, they've had these missiles for a while. This is a new discovery of these missiles, but they have great missile technology. They're doing it themselves, and what they're saying to China is, "We'll take ships and we'll take land targets if you cause us to."
I wanted to, before we move on, I want to see these. Oh, here we go. They're vehicle mounted.
It's in a story that the that the locals protested it. Can you imagine being, how dare you defend us from the Chinese threat? It's absolutely silly. Anyway.
It looks like a harpoon on steroids.
It sure as hell does. Looks like Harpoon's been taking peptides, baby.
And collagen and lifting and doing squats. Out there just living their best life.
Looks maxing.
Looks maxing, yes.
Again, I cannot wait until we have the first of the Barracudas online. Those are going to be really, 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 really cool. Go ahead.
Tenok says put them on Kinmen for the lulz. One problem with that. Kinmen is not part of Japan. Kinmen is part of Taiwan.
Yeah.
And Kinmen is only 6 miles from the mainland of West Taiwan.
But if you look at what the Taiwanese have built recently, look at their new surface-to-surface missiles. It's very impressive. Huge amount of money's been spent.
So let's get into this last bit. Going to drag us back to Iran in the context of Japan real quick. Earlier on Wednesday, a Japan flag container, One Majesty, sustained minor damage from an unknown projectile 25 nautical miles northwest of Ras Al Khaimah in the UAE. 2 maritime security firms said it's Japanese owner Mitsu OSK Lines, and a spokesperson for the Ocean Group Express, its charter, said that the vessel was struck at anchor in the Gulf. Oh, that's complicated. And inspections of the hull had revealed minor damage above the waterline. All crews are safe, they said, adding that the vessel remains fully operational and seaworthy. The owner said the cause of the incident remains unclear and was under investigation. A third vessel, a bulk carrier, also hit by an unknown projectile approximately 50 miles northwest of Dubai. A maritime security firm said the projectile had damaged the hull of the Marshall Islands flagged Star Gwyneth maritime risk management company Vanguard said, adding that the vessel's crew were safe. Owner Star Bulk Carriers said that the ship was hit in the hold area whilst anchored. There were no crew injuries and no listings. I'm going to make a prediction before we move on, and that is I believe that within the next 2 years, one of the maritime services are going to figure out a way to start offering anti-drone at minimum and probably anti-shipping missile services, and it's probably going to be in conjunction with a company like Anduril.
I'm fairly sure that Ambry already has a license, at least for the anti-drone, from the UK. I'm not sure on anti-air.
Joe wants a CRAM so badly.
Well, I'll tell you,
I need a CRAM at Camp Ponderosa.
Right. Well, listen, if the Gulf states were smart, hint, hint, I hope someone's listening, they would realize that legalizing and giving licenses to these companies for those things benefits them, not just in the short term, but in the long term by making them the center of that sort of business. But maybe they won't take us up on that. Here's hoping. All this time, though, Iran is telling everybody, hey, get ready for $200 a barrel. I doubt it. Jim, I think this is a good time to discuss what happened with oil.
There was a communications hit done to inflame global markets, probably by some idiots who wanted to make some money, and probably by a couple of governments who wanted to make Trump look bad. And the media took it in hook, line, sinker. And I'm going to guess some people made money if they went in quick and got out quick, but it's all disinformation. There's plenty of oil. What we're doing here is disintermediating oil targeted to China and the oil that was going into the dark tankers, the dark tanker fleet that we've pretty much shut down. So we've hit Tehran, we've hit Caracas, we've hit China. Russia will make some money out of this, but oil is probably 15 to 20% high, and that's based on a marketing communications effort by a group of organizations that do not have the best interests of the United States in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Facts. This chart isn't showing it, but I was watching yesterday around this area where it dipped into the 70s, and this isn't showing it. And it dipped pretty far into the 70s too. I think I saw it was trading as low as 74 yesterday.
Yeah,
Must not have-
the thing is we export things like diesel and gasoline in tankers, and so around the world right now those things are in great demand. If the president was smart, he would put a 6-month moratorium on federal fuel taxes, and that would cut the prices radically. But we've got to build more refineries. They've announced the building of the refinery in Brownsville, Texas. I think Texas is oversubscribed. We need to take some federal land in California and build a very large refinery complex because California, Oregon, and Washington control pricing in the Western U.S. They kind of are, their specialized gas blends and all the nonsense around the Cal EPA has created this unique sub-market. The feds need to come in and break that. And I'm not sure how you do that, but maybe a military base needs to be turned into a federal refinery.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Just in case people aren't aware, because I know we've covered it on the show, but it was just briefly a while ago. It's gotten so bad that there is major traffic coming through the Panama Canal from our refineries in Texas to fill up gas stations in California and Oregon. It's not a small amount. Like
That's ridiculous.
It is a large amount of refined product.
That's like the most expensive way to do it too.
And you know what? I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I know it sounds harebrained, but I think that we need to break up California. I think that there needs to be a state of Jefferson established. I think that there needs to be a central whatever. I think that LA and San Francisco need to be cordoned off and isolated into city states where that's as big as you get. You get one rep and you're done.
These sound like great ideas for the neo-Reconstruction era.
Well, that's good because I am a neo-Reconstructionist.
So bring her erector set. It'll be great.
So here's the deal, right? Like in all of this, it is to segue between the two. They're the same topic, but anyways, to draw the distinction there, there's no way we lose with Iran. The only way we lose anywhere, and it's kind of been the same way it's been for the last 50 years. The only way we lose is when we defeat ourselves by allowing the enemies internally to win. Mm-hmm. It is quite astonishing what the U.S. military is able to achieve when you take the dumb, made up bullshit handcuffs off.
Mm-hmm.
But to get back to oil, Jim, do you have any predictions for us? But do you want to counter Iran's prediction of $200 a barrel?
You see, this is all part of the game, right? No, there's no need for $200 oil. $200 oil would be a total destruction of the productive capacity of the Saudis and the Emiratis and the Iranians, and a long-term closure of the Straits of Hormuz. That's not in the cards right now, from what I see. And even with that, now that we're online here, what would happen in that case is we would begin to not export from the United States. We would keep it ourselves. If you notice, China has stopped all exports. Mm-hmm. There are gasoline lines in major cities in China right now. They are unprepared for this. But the difference between them and us is their people don't vote. So if their people are inconvenienced, it's nothing. If our people are inconvenienced, they go to the midterms and raise hell. Hence, that's why so much money's been spent on inflaming this issue. People want to manipulate the U.S. vote in the coming months. And the Senate and the Congress Republicans seem to be playing right into that because they're completely inept.
So you just said something that just kind of rolled off, and I understand why, because it's normal. But I'd like to dive into it for just a second. You said that China is unprepared for this, and I agree with you. But there are a lot of people who've been arguing the opposite and have been saying, hey, look at all this oil China's been buying. And that is also true. But what a lot of those people don't factor in is that China is corrupt as all fucking get out. And it turns out that the CCP officials in various different counties, like, you have to understand a couple of things here. The city CCP officials all throughout China that are technically very powerful, They're not allowed to raise taxes. There's a whole bunch of restrictions they have. They're expected to come up with all these improvements and that kind of thing, but they're given no budget to do it. So they end up finding shady ways to finance all this shit. And this is one of them. If that makes sense. It turns out that a lot of that stockpiling that has been going on in China over the last decade has either been poorly managed, and therefore like a lot of the food that they stockpiled turns out has gone bad and they've had to throw it out and it's not even useful for animal feed. But a lot of the oil and that kind of stuff that is actually valuable, that has been slowly siphoned off and sold by various different local officials. Not all of it. I'm sure that they have some military stockpiles in some places, but nowhere near the bulk that they should have based on the numbers that they've been importing versus how much they should have been burning.
So, yeah.
How does our control of Venezuelan oil now, how does that play into this?
So I'm going to let Jim talk, but I'll just answer yours real quick. And I think that I have a decent statistic that I worked out the other day that answers this. We have roughly reduced China's availability of oil by 20% between Venezuela and Iran.
So in China, they have what they call teapot refineries, which are the private refineries. And so the private refineries skim the illegal oil that comes in and produce fuel, usually for domestic consumption, some for export to Southeast Asia, so gasoline and diesel. That whole business now, the central party government has shut that down. That bled money in corruption in a way that most people can't imagine. And so they were the primary consumers of the dark fleet tanker oil that came out of Venezuela and came out of Iran. It's still coming out. They're buying Russian oil as well, right? But what we've done is curtailed probably 60% of the available petroleum for them in one 6-month period. So what used to produce the fuel that was used in the cities in China is now being held by the government because they don't know where their next tanker's coming from. And they definitely don't want to buy an American tanker load. That would cause conniptions. So it's going to be interesting to see how we unwrap this, but there's going to be a quid pro quo for access to Iranian oil go forward.
Yeah. Now, real quick, go ahead.
You said 60% you said that we've curtailed 60% of their oil.
That would be the illegal.
Right. But where's that other 40% coming from?
It comes from domestic. It comes from Russia, and it comes from open market.
All kinds of various stands.
Do we have a way of putting pressure on Russia to reduce that even more?
Not really.
Not directly.
We just allowed the Russians to deliver a cargo to the Chinese that was afloat, so that caused some problems in Washington with the hard right. But you don't want to corner them that badly at this point. So they're playing Xi well on this. We'll see. When's Trump going? 3 weeks? 4 weeks? It'll be interesting to see if he actually does take the trip. He usually is biased in favor of doing the trip. So.
That's it's going to be one for the ages. I suspect that we'll get pictures much like Nixon.
I agree.
Huh? Say again?
CENTCOM just put out a warning for civilians to avoid the ports used by Iranian forces 5 minutes ago. CENTCOM.
Where was this?
CENTCOM is warning the Iranian people to avoid the port facilities because the Iranian naval is using them for nefarious purposes. I'll let Watcher pull it up.
Yeah. So Tampa, Florida, on March 11th, U.S. Central Command is issuing a warning to civilians that the Iranian regime is using civilian ports along the Strait of Hormuz to conduct military operations to threat international shipping. This dangerous action risks the lives of innocent people. Civilian ports used for military purposes lose protection status and become legitimate targets under international law. CENTCOM urges civilians in Iran to immediately avoid all port facilities where Iranian naval forces are operating. Iranian dock workers, administrative personnel, commercial vessel crews should avoid Iranian naval vessels and military equipment. Iranian naval forces have positioned military vessels and equipment within civilian ports, serving military maritime traffic, serving commercial military maritime traffic. Although the U.S. military also cannot guarantee civilian safety in or near facilities used by Iranian regime for military purposes, American forces will continue to take every feasible precaution to minimize harm to civilians.
I wish them luck, but here we go. This becomes the tactical component of how you actually enforce compliance on attacking shipping in the Gulf. Is you begin to take out the port facilities and the places where the IRGC is going to hide. So let's see who does it. I'd love to see a mixed GCC force doing most of that work, but I doubt it'll happen. All right, guys, I got to go. You enjoy your day.
Bye.
Nice chatting with you.
Thank you.
Oh, good. Thank you so much, Jim.
I want to point out that Iran, much like China, is one of those places where there's honestly no such thing as a civilian port, right? Everything is a state asset. Everything is mixed use.
Mm-hmm.
There are IRGC contingents in every port, whether they be civilian or naval. So this is just us warning them that we're about to just destroy their ability to go to sea in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Well, I figured it was worth bringing up since we were just talking about the Strait and all the shipping issues and.
Well, and apparently there's another update as long as we're here. And I just saw. Sorry, I hadn't been checking X, so I didn't see that you'd tagged me in this. Hold on, why is that not squaring up? Give me a moment. My window's being retarded. Oh, sorry. In other news, did you guys hear we're not allowed to use that word on X right now because the safety team is up in a
Yes.
You can't use a lot of things on X right now.
There's a lot of like the old safety, like the community safety and
suddenly
trust
came back.
Suddenly came back out of nowhere. They just resurrected it out of the algo, and it's the bad old days on Twitter again.
Well, so another terrorist arrested. Cyprus, Texas bomber Jeremiah Chavez, 20, is charged with unlawful possession of components of explosive. Court documents allege that he threatened to bomb Highway 290. He was allegedly found with ammunition and bomb-making components.
It's only
Jeremiah Chavez. Oh, that's an interesting name. It's almost like there's a link between cartel activity, the Chinese, and the Iranians.
Mm-hmm.
No,
that can't be this silly.
I mean,
no way.
Crazy talk.
So
your boy Jim's smart. I like him.
It's true. To wrap this original story back up, so far there's been no let up on the ground and any sign that ships can safely move through the Strait of Hormuz, where a fifth of the world's oil has been blockaded behind a narrow channel along the Iranian coast in the world. The worst disruption to energy supplies since the oil shock in the 70s. Get ready for oil to be $200 a barrel because the oil price depends on regional security, which you have destabilized. Yeah, I'm with Jim. I don't
That's
buy
a
that.
pretty bold statement for any Iranian ever to claim anyone else destabilized the Persian Gulf region.
I would also, like, every time I see one of these statements, I start a little clock in my head, because without fail, the people who make these statements, unless they're the one guy who's at the UN, end up dead within a couple hours of making it.
Yeah, that guy's about to appear on a casualty list somewhere.
I'm not exaggerating, by the way. I think that this is one of the metrics that they're using to judge strikes is, hey, who's speaking for them? Oh, you're an official target.
That guy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I also would like to point out that we learned more about the son of the Ayatollah's broken dick than I have ever needed to know about another human being.
What? What did I miss? Fill me in.
Okay, so the son, Maja, whatever his name is, apparently he has impotency issues, and he got sent to the UK 4 different times to have medical treatments to fix his broken wiener that apparently wouldn't get hard for his lovely wife. But I just said, put a goat in front of him. That'll probably make it right out.
That'll make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, any day she's going to turn 14, and he's going to need to perform.
Yeah. Right.
So
he's got
yes.
broken penis.
Literally, his penis does not work.
There is no penis. There is no pancakes.
Does Iran have the equivalent of a pancake? Is there like an Iranian breakfast like that?
Yeah, what do they eat other than like the souls of Christian babies?
Yeah.
That was
Has anybody
niche
ever
humor.
told you too that? Has anybody ever told you too that you were just an absolute gem? Just
I mean, usually, but it's usually when we've taken hostages and they're trying to flatter us.
They're just like, please let us know. Wait, are we the masked men?
Well, hold on.
Yes, baby, we're the masked men in this scenario. Yes.
I have to bring up. We've gone here, and I have to bring up that I saw one of the best bits of humor around this I've ever seen in my life on Twitter yesterday, and so I need to acknowledge the Catwoman. Joe posted about this incident that happened in Brooklyn, where a bunch of Muslims blocked the highway and exited their vehicles and began chanting "Globalize the Intifada." Look at these cars these poor refugees are driving. Yeah, they are quite nice
see a
vehicles.
G-Wagon, a couple high-end, a Ferrari. Yeah.
Somebody points at this and goes, and this was really quite good. Sense around here says,
she nailed it.
Back. Yeah. Really pisses me off that his wife isn't in a car seat.
Yeah, I reposted that.
Brutal.
And said, anybody want to see it?
That was amazing.
Oh man, she literally dropped.
She's so funny. She kills me on the regs.
Yeah.
So allegedly, and I say allegedly because I don't want to get found murdered in pieces. Someone posted what appears to be a picture of El Mencho, El Chapo, and the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum herself.
Oh wow!
Oh,
I'm gonna tag Watcher and Dolio in it. Hold on. It looks like someone took a picture of like a picture framed on someone's desk, so it's like a picture of a picture. So hold on. I just stumbled upon it. Of course, take it with a grain of salt, but it has long been suspected that she, of course, is completely financed by the cartels and is their front woman doing all their bidding. I know, but I don't want to get sued or murdered, so we say hypothetically, allegedly.
In Minecraft.
Yes, for the lawyers. I just tagged both you gentlemen in there.
Alrighty,
we have a statement from Claudia Sheinbaum on this. She said, "Oy vey."
Now, in fairness, I wouldn't recognize El Mencho, maybe El Chapo. I think I've seen like 2 pictures of him.
You know what? I have to say this before we
get
into this. No, I have to say this before we get into this. I am in your exact same boat every time they drag one of these fugly looking cartel leaders out, and they're like, "This is El Corncob." I'm like,
yeah.
Who the fuck is this?
Right? Who is this tiny, angry little man, and why does he have so much fucking power? Like, what? Like, my 12-year-old daughter is 5'5". She's taller than half of the cartel kingpins.
Well,
I'm thinking we're in the wrong business. Like, seriously.
Illustrated by the fact that they're standing next to Claudia Sheinbaum, and they're barely 2 inches taller than her.
I know, she's tiny. Look at how tiny she is.
You know what? Wait,
to them.
no,
Well,
I
that's
take it
the
back.
Photo that is definitely El Chapo in the middle.
Is that I was thinking that was him, but I couldn't tell on the other one, Mencho. I don't
recognize the
recognize
analysis,
him.
but I've got to get petty here for a moment. I'm looking at this, and you know what? This is a designed photo. Look, they're on a grade. They literally had these guys stand on the higher end of the grade than her, so they'd be taller than her. I'm not even.
No, you're right. Her feet are lower than theirs. I totally see it now.
They're standing on the hill at NC Scouts Place. Those of you in the
Probably.
know exactly what massive hill.
Anyway, I just saw that and was like, whoa.
They got Banny Rooster problems.
Ooh. Well, those are pretty easy to take care of. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, you know why short people got such a you know why it is that short people have such a hard time in life. It's because when everybody else has had it up to here, that's way the fuck over their head.
In her defense, she only posted the photo because they thought she thought they heard him say his name was the Mensch, and she was like, "Oh, Mencho, my bad." So,
couple stories, and then we can get out of here. So, apparently, yesterday was the most intense wave of strikes, including day one. Is what I am hearing from both CENTCOM and sources that are watching things on the ground.
And according to this video or this photo, we used our secret fleet of pigeons to drop the bombs.
Yes.
Did we revive the World War II bat bomb? Question mark. But with pigeons. U.S. Israel launches heaviest strikes in Iran as market bets war will end soon. I'm not going to lie to you folks. I don't often bet the way the market does, but I kind of think they're right. When you fully destroy somebody's war-making capabilities, the war ends.
Mm-hmm.
You then move into something else, which is a policing action, and that's a whole messier, shittier topic, but it's no longer a war. Dubai, Tel Aviv, Washington. The United States and Israel pounded Iran to really just phrasing. With what the Pentagon and Iranians on the ground called the most intense airstrikes of the war, despite global markets betting that President Donald Trump will seek to end the conflict soon. I'm sorry, whoever wrote this article. Those are not conflicting ideas. Raising the stakes for the global economy, Iran's Revolutionary Guard said they would block oil shipments from the Gulf unless the U.S. and Israel attacks cease. I'm going to go back because my brain just thought of a better line for that as well. Breaking. U.S. president says the war against Germany will end soon, but bombings in Berlin are at the highest level ever. Yes. That's how that works.
That is how it works. Yeah.
Raising the stakes for the global economy, Iran's Revolutionary Guard says they would block oil shipments to the Gulf unless the U.S. and Israel attacks cease. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said it's launched missiles today at Qatar's U.S.-operated Al Udeid base and the Al Harir base in Iraq's Kurdistan. While the White House reiterated Trump's threat to hit Iran hard over moves to stop the flow of energy supplies through the Strait of Hormuz, where the war was effectively halted 1/5 of the world's oil and liquefied natural gas shipments, and repeated his offer for the U.S. Navy to safely escort tankers. Okay, he keeps offering it, but they've been asking them to do it for 12 days, and they haven't done it. That's why I'm asking, what is the disconnect? Today will be yet again our most intense day of strikes inside Iran. The most fighters, the most bombers, the most strikes, intelligence more refined and better than ever. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told a Pentagon briefing. In a message posted to his Truth Social platform later in the day, Trump said, "Within the last few hours, we have hit and completely destroyed 10 of Iran's inactive mine-laying vessels. We did not clarify where the strikes occurred." Tehran residents reached by Reuters described the war's most intense night of bombardment. It was like hell. They were bombing everywhere, every part of Tehran. A resident said by phone, speaking on condition of anonymity for security reasons. "My children are afraid to sleep now." In Iran's east, 2 5-story residential buildings were hit on Monday, blasting out floors and walls, leaving a rickety concrete frame. Footage from Iran's Red Crescent shows rescuers there carrying a victim in a body bag. Workers were still recovering bodies at the site today when a missile struck a road intersection nearby. Yet with Trump having described the war on Monday as very complete pretty much, again, I don't know why you're writing it this way. These are not conflicting ideas. Investors appear convinced he would end it soon before the disruption of global energy supplies could cause a worldwide economic meltdown. A historic surge in crude prices on Monday to nearly $120 a barrel was reversed as Brent crude settled back down to below $90 today. Asian and European share prices staged a partial recovery from early precipitous falls, and Wall Street bounced around its late February levels before the war, so been doing pretty good. Let's see. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt told reporters today that the American public will see gas and oil prices drop rapidly once the objectives in the joint Israeli-U.S. air war are fully achieved. A source familiar with Israel's war plans told Reuters the Israeli military wants to inflict as much damage as possible before the window of further strikes occurs, under the assumption Trump would end the war at any time. Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar said, Sa'ar, really? Thank you, Sa'ar.
Gideon Sa'ar.
Said the war would proceed until his country and the U.S. determined the time had come to cease hostilities, but that Israel was not seeking an endless war. We will continue until the minute we have and our partners think that it is appropriate to stop. The U.S. has used $5.6 billion in munitions in the first 2 days of strikes against Iran. A source familiar with the information said, not bad. Certainly, we're not seeking a ceasefire. We believe the aggressors must be struck in the mouth so that they learn a lesson. Iran's parliament speaker, Mohammed Bir Khalibaf, said on X. Again, I wish that they would add their time of death after their statement. That would start making things a lot clearer for a lot of these people.
A lot easier.
Foreign Minister Abbas Ark told PBS that Tehran was unlikely to resume negotiations with the U.S. Why would we negotiate? What is there to negotiate over? They've told us explicitly that they will not do the things that we said that they have to do in order to prevent this. Now we're in the
extra crispy is what they're to negotiate over.
I would say there's probably a couple people we're negotiating with, but they're not going to let anybody else know we're negotiating with them.
No.
And apart from that, everybody else, I don't care. It was like, I don't know if you guys saw this, but they issued a list of demands yesterday, and it was like, Netanyahu has
remove
to be
all
sent
troops from every single base in the Middle East. Like, yeah, you can just go fucking sit and spin on that one, Charlie.
And I was like, whoever reported on it was like, and Iran might have the leverage to pull this off. And I was like, he said that with a straight face.
No.
Like, what? What leverage do they have?
Well, hold on. Here's
None.
the thing. I need you guys to fully understand the depth of their insanity. I don't know if you guys have stumbled upon this yet, but there is a bubble. It is mostly on Blue Sky, but it also has kind of a surfacing into X, okay? But and it is a joint bubble, okay? The two types of people in this bubble are Candace Owen follower types, but also leftists, right? So, literally,
because horseshoe theory.
Because, no,
so
it's not even horseshoe theory. It's not even horseshoe theory. It's literally, it's the same picture. Anyways, so here's the deal. They have this whole alternate universe, and it's where a lot of the AI footage that you're seeing is coming out of, where I'm not even kidding you. They are trying to spread that there have been secretly thousands of Israeli casualties and American casualties that are being fully covered up by the media and the government. The media that is so in Donald Trump's pocket. Yeah. That all of these deaths are being covered up, and that we're losing the war quite badly, and that Iran is doing quite well, and that all the people that we keep saying are dead aren't really dead, and there is all this weird shit. Well, yes, I want you to picture all the craziness that they had around Charlie Kirk.
Oh God, it's
worse.
Oh. So I have a question. So remember CNN got invited by the Iranian government to come in and film their propaganda. I mean, the funeral of however many Ayatollahs we're up to now, 4. I don't fucking know. So what's going on with that? I refuse to watch CNN because I'm not giving them any of my viewership dollars. But is that dude still there? Is he alive? What's happening?
Okay, so this is my favorite one yet. So the guy that there's... I wish I had a soundboard queued up, because what we really need to start this out is a good, tasteful, copyright-free soap opera introduction music, and we need a good soap opera for Iran, like Days of Killing You, or I don't know,
The Days of the Ayatollah.
So here's the deal. there's been a bunch of basically like rivaling coup attempts within the Iranian thing, because they busted down so much of the leaders that actually had power that now you're actually starting to break into like native tribalism and a bunch of different like factions that are pitted against each other naturally within Iran that are now fighting through the organs of government to try and maintain control. And the latest guy who got picked by a faction who basically like snuck in and did the picking before anybody else had a say about it. And to add intrigue to the matter, turns out he was one of the guys that got struck on day one, and he's like hanging on just to the very clinging edge of life. Barely. They have stabilized him, but he's in a hospital bed, unconscious, does not know that he's the Ayatollah, does not know that any of this has happened whatsoever. And so now there's like internal strife and fighting because he got announced as the Ayatollah, but he's basically, he could die at any minute. Plus, like he's a vegetable. They said,
and
hey,
his dick doesn't work.
And his penis is not working.
Here's the other thing.
Well,
they
it
were like,
shouldn't work if he's in a coma. I mean,
they were like, hey, we're going to have you come out. We're going to have the new Ayatollah come out and give an address to the people. And it was hours later when they, and I'm not even fucking kidding you here,
I saw the
wheeled
pictures.
out a cardboard cutout of the man.
With his face taped to the top.
Photo. It was a photo.
Literally, it was a cardboard cutout with his face and like fake shoulders.
Like him, right?
And then they read a statement that was supposedly from
him.
The cardboard cutout.
The broke dick, literally.
So this has now caused even more inflammation amongst those internal Iranian factions because most of the hardline religious clerics don't like this. Well, who would have guessed? And so now I think that's one of the only reasons we haven't struck a hospital and killed him, if I'm being 100% honest. Just, you know, clean up crew. But I think one of the reasons we haven't struck him is because it's better for us that this guy stays alive because it's causing
problems.
It's causing problems internally. Yeah. So and it's not like he can do anything because again, he's
basically
literally and figuratively a cardboard cutout.
Yes.
Be prepared, nailed it. Tune in next week for As the Mullahs Fall.
Oh
yes! Yes!
Well done, Chris. Well done.
As the Mullahs Fall.
Brought
to you by Cialis.
Listen, somebody said that if South Park does not turn that into an episode, it'll be disappointing.
So yeah, so here's what I was talking about. By the way, I have to say that Iranian Photoshop artists are on their game. Right? Look at that. Look at that glam photo touch up that they had, and they worked it up in hours.
It makes you wonder, like they keep talking about how, oh, we have no water, we have no electricity, oh, we're poor victims. Yet y'all's IT department is just pumping this shit out left, right, and center because something's working. Shut up. Yeah.
Do you
By
think
the way,
this
is not the son that Khomeini wanted to replace him.
Correct.
The less favorite son, because the favorite son is already dead.
He did.
Well, he can meet his brother and his father's in hell soon enough. Yeah, that's the guy, Moshtaba with the broke dick.
Yeah. 3 days after Broke Dick was proclaimed to have succeeded his slain father as Iran's supreme leader, he has not appeared on video or in public, nor issued any written statements. One reason is concern that any communication could reveal his location and put him in danger, according to 3 Iranian officials. But another factor is that he was injured in the opening day of the attack by Israel and the United States, they said. The 3 Iranian officials.
Being dead is an injury. It's entirely possible this guy is dead.
Already smoked. Correct. 3 Iranian officials said that they were told by more senior figures in the government over the past 2 days that Broke Dick had suffered injuries, including to his legs, but that he was alert and sheltering at a highly secured location with limited communication. Limited communication meaning, sir, please blink if you can hear us. Please blink twice if you can hear us. 2 Israeli military officials said information gathered by Israel had also led the defense establishment to believe that Mr. Broke-Dick suffered leg injuries on February 28th, a conclusion they reached even before he was selected as the new supreme leader on Sunday, and Israel took officials spoke on condition of anonymity. The full circumstances and extent of Mr. Broke-Dick's injuries were unclear. His father, Ayatollah Broke-Dick, was killed in Israeli airstrikes on a leadership compound in the heart of Tehran, also on February 28th. The new supreme leader's mother, wife, and son, as well as several top Iranian military defense officials, were also killed in that daytime attack. One hint of Mr. Broke-Dick's condition has been referenced on state television, and the state news agency IRNA, which called him the Wounded War Veteran Supreme Leader, as a statement from... well, they have to have a way to distinguish them because we're going through them so quickly. They're not going to remember names, right? You have to...
Right? There's so many.
Right. I think Broke-Dick works.
Ayatollah Broke-Dick.
Have they considered
We'll call the next one that too.
Are related to who he's attempting to get one for?
Yeah, it could be true.
I'm just saying, pick better ladies.
I mean, that's kind of why I made the joke about just put a goat in front of him. I bet it works. It's just the wrong bait. Literally. He doesn't want a normal woman. Oh no, he needs special things.
Called him a John Baz Jang. Okay, that's their term for wounded war veteran. On Tuesday, local media in Iran asked Esmaili Baghdadi, the spokesman of Iran's foreign ministry, if Khomeini had taken charge and assumed his new role as the country's top religious and political figure and the commander of the in-chief of armed forces. Mr. Baghdadi would not answer the question directly and said, "Those who have received the message have received the message." Wow.
Wait, what?
So they asked him if he'd officially stepped up and taken control of the military, and he's like,
"Okay,
those who need to know, no."
Oh, yikes!
Oh my gosh!
He's just taking a dirt nap somewhere
Uh-huh.
while they quickly try to figure out how to spin this.
I need to make a note to listen to Rock the Casbah on Root today.
Yes.
Mr. Khomeini had remained a mysterious figure. He has seldom, if ever, delivered public speeches or attended public events. Iranian media began circulating a half-minute-long video with just still photographs of him and a short biography. That is a very generous way to put what actually happened. On Friday, when it emerged that Mr. Khomeini was front runner in the succession selection, Israeli fighter jets dropped bunker buster bombs on the remaining structure of the Supreme Leader's office and living compound, shattering it into rubble. Satellite photographs showed. Iranian officials said they believed that the target of the strikes was Mr. Khomeini, but that he was not there. Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, said in a social media post that any successor to the Ayatollah Khomeini would be a target. President Trump said he was not happy with Mr. Khomeini's ascent, but would not address whether or not the U.S. plans to try to kill him.
That means yes.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Come on.
That means yes.
That means
Without
that you don't even
having
stupid
to say
question.
it.
So I wanted to.
It was a dumb question to begin with.
Something popped into my mind as we're talking about Israeli strikes. So far, the only people to have shot down another aircraft in this entire conflict are the Kuwaitis.
Correct.
And I'm actually curious to see if there's ever any follow-up as to whether that was a green on blue attack or true friendly fire.
Yeah, I haven't heard any follow up on that either.
My bet would be that it was a green on blue.
Yeah. So, and there's a number of reasons to believe that. Biggest of which is that our anti-aircraft missiles target the cockpit, and none of the pilots was severely injured. There is zero, never, not once a recorded instance of somebody getting hit with a Patriot and the pilot surviving. That doesn't happen.
Be prepared. Thank you for the reminder. I actually celebrated it when it happened. Bahrain did down 2 Iranian Su-24s, the Bahraini Air Force.
Nice.
The reason why it was Bahrain is because that's the closest land approach to Iran across the strait. and Iran tried to shoot a couple of Su-24s in and got smoked. So
I just have to acknowledge Derna's comment. You're correct. Their predilections may have saved him in this instance. He might have been out in the barn.
On the barn.
So, and let me just point out that we've destroyed some F-14s on the ground, and we destroyed some Iranian Su-24s. This means Iran will have to get aircraft from at least the 90s now, because all of their 80s aircraft have been destroyed.
Correct. Yeah. And may we just say, good night, sweet prince, to those poor tomcats that had to endure Iranian.
They did mention that they were going to make a strike with their remaining F-4 Phantoms, and while I love the F-4 Phantom, the guys flying the F-35s and F-22s chuckled and said, "Bet, let's do this."
Listen, on a very real note, please, Cosmos, do not let us get out of this conflict without the F-22 finally getting an air-to-air kill. I don't know if I will be able to deal with it otherwise.
Disappointment will be too much for Watcher. Come on.
It's such a beautiful aircraft. It's going to get retired without getting a single kill. It's not right. It's not correct. Fix this. $5 from Thumb Guy. Thumb Guy says, indeed, in a few seconds, 3 F-15s shot down. What does anybody know? Yeah, they were.
They were 15s. They were 15s.
Yeah, he was 15s. What does anybody know about the pilot or his commander? Even incompetence has consequences. Yeah,
on that note, Watcher, I just dropped a picture in the CFC chat of the pilot, according to Jay Clark.
Oh, okay. Let me hold on. I'm not on excellent. Give me a second. Oh, here we are. Ah.
There he is.
Oh my God.
Who let this asshole fly?
Yeah. Way to combine an Iran war and Spaceballs reference all in one.
Are we just going to not talk about the fact that in Watcher's head, he constantly has the Indiana Jones theme song playing?
Watcher has lots of interesting things going on in his head at all times.
Yeah, you don't.
Because
you
you're
don't,
going to always.
You don't want to stop and question that for very long.
Here's the funniest thing. You ladies will appreciate this because it's a mom and girl thing. Long ago, when we first met, Mrs. Tactical Wisdom and I essentially adopted Watcher as one of our nephews and kind of gave advice and guided him along the way and all that stuff. And so he's had several conversations over the internet with Mrs. Tactical Wisdom and I. And then he comes out here and we're having a big event. And there's all kinds of people running around doing things. And he walks into the kitchen where she is preparing food. And he just starts talking to her. And how long did it take you? Like 2 minutes, 3 minutes before you figured out who she was?
Oh, yeah.
We're just having a conversation. And he goes, "Oh, my God, you're Allison." And she was like, "And you're Watcher." And then they both started hugging and crying. It was beautiful.
Yeah. I'd never heard her voice before.
I love that.
I love that so much.
Yeah. She's awesome.
Yeah, you know what? I gave her some props last night on our Bible study because all the times I bring a house full of strange people into her house, she feeds them, takes care of them. And as you recall, she made an epic plate of nachos that week. But anyway, she does a great job, and she's really understanding of what we have going on here. So we appreciate her.
We love Mrs. Dolio.
Yes.
But you can say that all you want. She doesn't watch this show because, in her own words, I have to listen to you talk all of the time. I don't go out of my way to find other time.
Listen to you, right? Yeah.
You know what? I gotta acknowledge that she does have to listen to me talk literally all the time. So,
well, let's get to this last one because I think it's interesting, and then we'll wrap up. This one comes from our good friend NC Scout, who says, "Sounds like jamming on USAF Global High Net 11.175 megahertz is experiencing interference. 8.992 is not. Audio sounds similar to Russian CIS family of digital modes. Not confirmation."
You share the audio there.
It should be.
I can hear it.
Yes, Be Prepared made this video, by the way. We should acknowledge that.
Oh, yeah, was it? Oh, hold on. How do I?
And I'll point out that Alpha Charlie Concepts first texted it to me and Matt and then brought it out to everyone. So it does sound like for the last 24 hours or so, someone in the CIS or CSTO world of things, Collective Security Treaty Organization world, is broadcasting over the U.S. Air Force's Doomsday Network. Their alternate channel is working fine. And so I had a bunch of sad hams say, no, that just sounds like digital mode. Yes, the United States Air Force doesn't use that on that net. The purpose of that net is emergency voice communications and emergency action messages, which are not digital in nature. So this means someone is intentionally jamming that frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and let me just remind everybody what jamming is. It is broadcasting a signal which is unintended over the top of the intended signal, and it doesn't matter what the actual signal being broadcasted is. Like you could jam somebody with the itsy bitsy spider.
Yes, or cartoons or K-pop videos, like whatever.
Or the personal favorite that NC Scout and I like to do for our students is boots.
Oh, God.
Yes.
We like to broadcast that all the time.
Alpha Charlie says the frequency is currently clear. Do you?
Yeah, that's what Chris just said too. That it turned off just before the show. I like to think that we change world events. I do.
You know what? No, I mean, the operators are watching. That's all I'm going to say. They had to take a break to come watch the show.
Absolutely. Also, watchers, let's just show that other video. The ballistic missile cooking off.
Oh, where did you put? Oh, yeah. Hold on. Where?
It's just above that one you just shared.
Perfect. Yes, I forgot. We do have one bit of eye candy before we go. Oh, it's so beautiful. Hold on. Let me get it full screened. And let me make sure we're sharing the right tab. There we are. All right, folks. Once again, proving. Actually, I don't know if this one proves that shelters aren't hard shelters are useless. Hard shelters are useless unless you have an entire mountain over the top of you. But they're particularly useless when you leave the doors open.
Yeah, bad things happen.
Oh, wow.
Whoop. He took that one right in Djibouti.
Right up Djibouti.
Oh, my gosh. Not even time to bite the pillow. Just right in there.
So,
Nope,
as
just right
always,
in.
when there is a surprise attack to Djibouti, it gets fiery pretty quick.
The dildo of consequences rarely arrives.
Never.
Durna, that's a very expensive tandoori oven. Yes, it is.
Taco Bell was involved.
Alpha Charlie nails it. And we have penetration.
Now, in 9 months, we're going to have a little baby brother missile. Yay!
That's where you get the AM9 Sparrow, just like that.
And that's where babies come from. The child sitting there terrified, like, what?
We have some more. I believe this is
more.
a truck that was carrying missiles.
Not no more.
Oh, there we go.
No, it's not.
Boom, boom.
There's that. Oh, it goes longer.
Oh,
Yeah,
different
that was
angle.
a missile. That was a
my
missile
goodness.
truck. Another missile. That was a big missile.
That was a big, big missile.
That is an
Your
artillery
missile
piece.
is so big.
Hey, you know what? I've seen this. This is on TikTok, and they have
That looked like a
basically
Moab.
they have this entire video, and then it's basically like they start out with the music, and they have Marco Rubio go fireball, and then it just hits those strikes. over and over again.
Yeah.
I will find it and I will send it to you.
While
Yes.
while his missile was very big, it went off prematurely.
It did. Yeah.
Well, the Ayatollah should be blamed for that and his impotency issues. I think they're affecting readiness of the military because his peen doesn't work.
So this is kind of cool. This is what that site looks like overhead. This is that protected shelter we saw. This is the railway that was coming out of it. And then this is the launch site for the missile. So they had it tucked up in the shelter to try and protect it. And then we lobbed it right in the door. Well, all right, folks. I think that's it for prepared stories today. Why don't we go around the horn? Joe, we have for everybody. Got any predictions for the weekend or for the next couple days?
Well, my biggest prediction is that I will be opening a battle box in just a few minutes. And it's going to be fun because it's always fun. Anyway, I think that we're going to see some more foolishness around the Straits of Hormuz and probably some surface action between ships, because at some point we're going to have to pull up our pants and decide that we have to push some combatant vessels through and clear a lane for shipping. So that's going to have to happen. And I think we'll see a lot more things explode in Iran. But as the weekend approaches, we will see some protest action in the U.S. For some reason, people screaming and yelling about how we have to leave poor Iran alone.
No, I don't. Absolutely not.
And Tanakh, you asked about me streaming the opening of the box. I probably won't stream it, but I will make a video and put it out. Why not? We haven't done that in a while. So
hold on. I have a picture of said people. I'm just trying to find the correct one. Here it is. Let me get that downloaded. Here we go. Leave the military theocracy alone.
I sent you that in confidence. Here you are, just throwing it up there.
You're a handsome devil, Joe. You're a handsome devil. It's fine.
Molly, what do you have for the
Yes.
folks? Anything you want to say to the folks at home? Anything you want to plug before you go? Any predictions you want to make about the next couple days?
This is the worst case of being caught in my phone looking for that Marco Rubio fireball.
We can go to Danielle first.
Yeah, good.
Okay, I'm actually prepared. I think Molly and I switched roles this week.
I know.
So as of about, 2 hours ago, there was an article that came out by the Dallas Express News saying that the H-1B employer database has gone dark. USCIS database tracking companies hiring H-1B visa workers is suddenly offline. Search tools disabled, recent data sets missing, interactive map gone. Agency says technical issues are being fixed, but transparency on the program has just vanished.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm really wondering where this data center is kept and who's keeping it up. Wasn't there a story not too long ago about, was it Microsoft was hiring CCP linked people to work on a DoD database? Or did I dream that?
That's absolutely true, but let's go even further than that. The entire Microsoft high C-suite team is Indian.
Yes. So now there's a lot of H-1B controversy happening in Texas right now, as well as other states. But it's interesting that their database has gone offline, allegedly caused by technical issues. But we'll see if it comes back on and exactly how much data got removed, because I have a feeling it's maintained by the same H-1B people.
I wonder who works there.
Yeah. Well, in a related story that I'll tack on here just as a fun thing, I saw a story yesterday that said that the U.S. was officially shutting off SBA loans, so Small Business Administration loans, which, by the way, are mythical. I've asked before, hi, I'm a disabled veteran trying to start a business. Are there any types of loans available?
They're almost impossible to get.
It's absolutely
They're almost impossible to get.
Unless
Weirdly,
you're an
yeah.
immigrant, apparently.
Exactly.
Apparently, because they've been going out the door like crazy. But here's the deal. Where do you think I saw this breaking news story? Where do you think the first place to cover the fact that the SBA was shutting off loans to non-native citizens?
To foreign nationals.
Times of India.
That is correct. It was in the Times of India.
Yeah.
I get a gold star.
Weirdly, I actually like kind of talk on that. Well, I don't like make it that big of a point, but that is part of the pressures that are on my characters in Kill Game in the second story. So dealing with the SBA and the bullshit, absolute bullshit that it is.
It is bullshit. I don't even understand why people who are not American citizens are allowed to get small business loans.
Why are they allowed to get mortgages?
The whole point is they sell a majority stake in their business to a white person, and then they claim the SBA loan, and you know. Also, as of 29 minutes ago, the New York Times is reporting that the U.S. military investigation into the girls' school was caused by a deadly Tomahawk missile, and that U.S. CENTCOM was using outdated data, and that it's all our fault. As of 29 minutes ago, NYT.
Oh, so
they want to blame us for that.
Hold on. I also have something for this. Keep talking. I'll get it.
Okay. The preliminary investigation disclosed that U.S. CENTCOM officers created the strike coordinates using outdated data supplied by the Defense Intelligence Agency. The school building had previously been part of an adjacent Iranian military base. It's not exactly adjacent when it's literally behind the gate. What is the term for that, Joe? Like when you have to go through like a secure area to get to your school every day?
I don't know. Like a green zone kind of deal or what?
Yeah, like they showed aerial photos of like the base, but like the school is like on the base. People were like, no, it's next to it. Like they showed where there's roads around the school and into the base, but then they showed where there's like walls, like a big perimeter wall. The girls' school is inside the wall of the base. It's on the base. So I would find it really odd in Iran, of all places, that you would have a school dedicated for girls on a military base full of grown-ass men. That weirds me out. I'm sorry. That is just creepy and weird. Sorry.
So I do have a quick answer for that. It is on screen.
I love you, Watcher.
So good.
I know I take nothing the New York Times says at face value, but a lot of people will see that and immediately assume it's gospel truth. So
facts, and no, it's absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Molly. Back to you.
Okay, so do I have anything specific that I want to talk about now? No, I think that we've covered basically everything other than
go buy Molly's book.
Go buy my book and come follow us over on the What Did You Do This Week podcast on Twitter. And then we can we're dropping our episodes there. We are in season 2. And actually can we ask for permission to do an intro and an outro? What did you do this week podcast style?
You know, I'm okay with it if Joe's okay with it.
Yeah, why not?
Danielle, do you want to give us an intro?
Oh my God. You are listening to the Council on Future Conflicts with Joe Dolio, Watcher on the Web, Molly Miller, and Danielle. Hi.
Thank you for listening to the Council for Future Conflict. This has been an extra special show with our guests because the hamsters always take over, Watcher and Joe. Do you remember
and
that
this
time?
is why we don't get invited back.
This is why no, because remember we were on the first time and Scott like completely lost signal and we were like, oh, the show is ours now.
That's true.
We own it now.
We licked it. It's ours.
It's ours.
We licked it. It's ours.
All right. Well, I think that leaves me last. And I'm going to say, I believe from the warning that CENTCOM just issued that within the hour, you're going to start seeing Iranian port facilities all over get lit up. I don't think Iran is going to have many port facilities left that don't look like a fishing dock.
I agree with that. I think that's valid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably going to be what happens before lunchtime today. But we'll see.
Yeah, it's
Probably,
gonna be
yes.
fairly quick. Yeah.
Apart from that, yeah, I think you're going to see both leftist and Islamic violence increase pretty exponentially over the next 2 weeks here in the U.S. I would avoid public gathering places. I avoid public gathering places in general, anyways. But I'm telling you
Sure.
people now to avoid public gathering places. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Keep in mind, it's spring break for a lot of kids this week, next week for a lot of schools. So you're going to have people traveling for spring break. They're going to be out at like events and entertainment venues. So just if you're out with your families, just be aware, keep your eyes scanning, and have a plan where to go, how to get out of the area. Dolio knows this better than all of us, but be prepared.
And if your kids are looking for a fun, safe, not gonna much less likely to get shot up by terrorist activities, may I suggest bonfires or going to the local lake? What
Yes.
happened to that?
Yeah, it's a lot better, and especially since like there's so much air traffic being held up now with
Oh gosh, the
yeah,
TSA lines are
the TSA lines are crazy, which is so silly because they're mad about ICE, but ICE is funded until what 29, I think. But they think that holding up budgeting right now is for Homeland Security is going to do anything for that. Like,
Yeah.
lame.
Well, that means your defense is on yourself, as it has always
been.
always has and always will be.
And on that note, I'm going to say stay strapped to get clapped. And as Scott would say, stay safe.
Mm-hmm.